I goofed this up.
Welcome, everybody. We are the #1 podcast for technical difficulties, and I love that for us. We're doing it.
Yeah, hell with it.
If it sounds weird, it's my fault. Just blame me. So there, take that. Bergie here, Jen here, Bruiser. Purple Church, Lisa's here. Aurora's here. What's up? Okay, we're talking about a reptile show that we just went to. Yay!
Woo! Hell of a drive.
Oh God, how long is your drive?
I think it was 10 or 11 hours, depending how quick we were moving. Well, that's what it's supposed to be. Because of that storm, though, it probably took another 2 hours.
Did you sleep that night, Sunday night?
Off and on. Not much, though.
But Dad drove.
Well, we alternated. He would get tired. He'd sleep. I would try to sleep, but it was hailing and raining so hard that it would just periodically wake me up. So I never actually got like a good hard sleep. So I was so part. Then when he wanted to sleep, then I would like, okay, I'll try to drive for a little bit, but it would only be for like a few hours because I was like, you know, that when you're trying to fight yourself to sleep or slapping yourself in the face, rubbing your eyes, just stretching in the driver's seat, trying to keep yourself going.
Yeah.
It was rough. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably the roughest drive we've ever had, I think.
Have you ever thought about sleeping on the way back just for fun?
Yeah, we used to do it, but then we were just like, you know, oh, it's not that bad. Well, because we used to just be, our dad used to be more comfortable driving because we usually had a trailer hitch on it. But then after a while, we all got, I got more comfortable with it. So then I started taking over too with some of the driving. And then we're just like, you know what, we could just alternate. And we usually do fine. That's what we did for Virginia too. But it was just the fact I couldn't really sleep because of the hard hail and all that. And I was sketched out because I was like, it's raining cats and dogs out here. And I'm like, Dad's like, he's still tired. And you're just like, man, this is raining so hard out here. I can feel like something's going to go south. So that was in the back of my head.
Right,
so
then
I was
you're
like,
way
oh,
down.
man. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is making me not want to sleep even more. So it wasn't until like after we got past the storm, then it was pretty smooth after that. Well, smooth without sleep.
Yeah, I thankfully had zero rain going south. So lucked out. It's like, I don't know, 3 a.m. or something. You're like,
yeah.
Is it a coyote? Yep. I don't know where I am right now.
Yeah. I'm drinking energy drinks like it's going out of fashion. Like I was just like, good Lord.
Right.
Yeah.
All the things we do to go to reptile shows, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That's why I try to limit them to a few good ones.
Yes. It's hard to find a good reptile show these days, but I think this one is a good one.
Yep.
Do you think you didn't do this one last fall? Is that correct?
Yeah, I chickened out. I'm going to be totally honest. I was listening to I don't remember their podcast, but their local Coloradoans out there that were doing a podcast that was talking about the pending rule change, I guess. I don't know if rule changes they were having to some laws they had, and they sounded doom and gloom about it. And them being local to the area and knowing the area better than me, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to take that chance. But then local buddies that lived near me drove out there and did really well. And I was like, well, I guess the consensus isn't that bad after all. It was just me psyching myself out and about it. So
I did think last fall was a little slow.
Okay.
So maybe you dodged a bullet.
Maybe.
Yeah, in its own way. But this spring was not slow. I ran my numbers, and this one is the second best gross sales Denver AARPE I've ever done.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
I would say mine's this. I'd have to look back. I didn't actually look to see how I did the first time I did, but it was either on par or maybe just a little bit better. It wasn't. It was, like I said, it was overall, it was pretty good though. I didn't, better than, wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst show. But
No, it
I
did
kind
feel
of,
slower than other ones. But the people who came were more interested in buying a snake.
yeah.
What do you think about that theory?
I think so. I think,
I saw double-digit corn snakes retail.
ooh, well, it's interesting. I didn't sell double-digit ball pythons. It was, well, there was one, but the majority of them was under double digits. Well, not double digits, triple digits. I'm sorry.
Why
Sorry.
double-digit pricing to a double-digit number? Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, they
because a
were.
lot of shows, like if you bring 100 snakes, you should expect to sell 20 or 30%. I only brought 32 or something, and I sold basically half of them. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought so. How many you brought? All corn snakes, right?
And
Corns and
2 cow
milks
kings.
and 2 cow kings. Not milks. Yeah, I meant to say king snakes. Yeah, I was. I don't know. Was there a bunch of corn snakes there,
Uh,
or
there
did you
usually
look
is
more?
other people with them, like the pet
Yeah.
stores will have them.
Okay. I was just curious because I noticed the kit thing was a big thing. Like people with like your kit, but just different versions of it. Rather it was
Mhm.
totes or like PVC companies they hooked up with to get like little like tote size PVC enclosures. I thought that was pretty interesting. I remember that's always been an off and on thing as far as like people interested in those or bringing those totes. But I was a
Yeah, I think if you want to sell lower cost animals, crested geckos, snakes, whatever, I think they need the kits.
yeah.
Is that crazy? Because like
No,
they
I
don't
think
have a
that's
rack
spot
at
on.
home. They need to buy this is their first snake. They have no idea what's going on. They need like a simple
Yeah. Well, generally the only thing they
explanation.
usually have is like a 10 or 20-gallon tank they used to keep fish in or something, and that was the only
Right.
other enclosure they had in Colorado being
Right.
bone dry, especially with a corn snake probably handle it a bit better, but like a ball python just you know
Right. They need something to hold in humidity for sure.
yeah,
I just
yeah,
think it helps them like get over the barrier of being like, this is $40, but I have to go buy a $300 PVC
yeah.
enclosure today. Instead, you're
I
like, no,
I
just chill.
personally think what makes the tote idea better than the enclosure, like the PVC enclosure, is because I tell people with acclimating the baby, any baby python for that matter, is you keep it in like those size totes you had, and you raise it up till it essentially grows out of it, and hopefully you have an adult or nearly adult setup for it, and you solder a hole into the lid or
Mhm.
something, and you just take the whole thing, place it in there and then let the snake acclimate itself rather than you just take the whole animal out and just throw it in a whole different enclosure. So
Mhm.
I personally think the toad idea is like a fantastic idea when it comes to like new people getting something, because I was recommending it all weekend to people was your toads would be perfect
Thank you.
idea for new baby stuff. Yeah.
I think
I
2 people that you recommended did come and buy a tote.
Yeah, I told them I go only difference is I said I do pythons, and since you guys are drier out here, I'd recommend like coconut husk or something like that for a little
Mhm.
bit more moisture. But
I was able to sell the Cow Kings. This is an interesting thing to bring up. There's a lot of anti-Cow King propaganda,
what
but
really?
I think it's coming from people who live in California though, and so maybe they're very common there at shows. I don't know if there were
Really?
very many Cow Kings at Denver, and I don't see them
Oh,
very often in Oklahoma
yeah,
City or Texas shows. So like maybe y'all should like swap, like
right,
somebody wholesale a bunch of Cow Kings over here, and we'll send you hog noses or whatever we have way too much of,
right.
and it'll even out. Because I think there's a lot of people who are like you shouldn't breed Cow Kings because they're too common and nobody wants them. But there's almost none here. Just like there's no Rosie Boas really here. There was a
Yeah,
couple at this show, but like not a ton.
you know
Oh,
that makes you. I don't know. Doesn't that make you wonder though? Like particularly, like I have to say, as a python breeder, I
mm-hmm,
think most people, particularly in the pet trade, are looking for really pretty animals and particularly
mm-hmm.
affordable pretty animals. There isn't much prettier than some of the colubrids like Corns, Milks, Honda, or the Kings and stuff we have in the U.S. that are affordable. I can't help but just like, if they think that's oversaturated, I don't know. I see a bunch of Kings, but I see just as many. I see way more ball pythons.
Right. I think here's what I think is going on. I think there's like a thing happening in colubrids right now where rare colubrid species are very in vogue with people who are already in the hobby. Like they'll go out and buy something weird because they're feeling, like a hipster. They want to be first in their area to have Barons racers or whatever. And that's fine. But like when you turn around and try to sell stuff to pet people, they don't necessarily want a Barons racer because they can't afford it. They don't want to spend $600 on one or whatever. So like you really should have that as like a arm of your business if you want to be doing colubrids. It's something common and pretty and easy to take care of and easy to explain. Just like sort of you have like a pet ball python morph and like maybe one that's intended for a breeder. Those are two separate things and they're not really targeting the same person.
Yeah.
Really?
Right.
So I think the anti-Cal-King contingent, maybe they are at shows that are really flooded with Cal-Kings, or they're pricing those Cal-Kings like they're supposed to be breedable Cal-Kings when they need to be priced like pet Cal-Kings.
Right.
Is that a spicy take? Like instead of being like, this is a $250 Cal-King that has a specific project or its locality, and it is rare. But instead, when you go to the show, that maybe they need to be presented as like pets.
Yeah.
$100, $80, $50, something like that. And then you're just like, that's fine too. Even if it is that pure locality, you just don't even worry about that right now. Just sell it as a pet.
Yeah, most people don't care about like usually those kinds of nuances on something like that. So is it pretty, or is it the size I need or would like, or care easy, but
that's my thought on why Cal-Kings are out of fashion but not at the same time.
I always thought, like, honestly, if I didn't work with pythons, I would probably work with like Kings and Milks, or probably some of my favorite North American colubrids. They're just interesting looking, just pretty, a wide range of colors and patterns, or lack of patterns depending. But yeah, I don't know. I always thought they were super duper pretty and neat. Maybe I like stuff that bites your fingers and stuff too. So I know they can be little sneakers when it comes to like sneaking a bite on a fingertip or something.
Eventually any meat that's exposed, they're in.
Right.
I see that shin you got there.
Right. Give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to eat that. Not a problem. Right.
Oh,
that's a Cal-King thing. Some of the other ones are better, but
maybe too, because like everyone like secretly houses snakes together, and they just obviously king snakes and milks being more cannibalistic than others, try to keep them together, and they end up eating each other or something like that,
and that diminishes the
they're like,
do you think people co-house, like breeders co-house snakes together a lot more than they pretend they do? Is that what you were saying?
I think more people, even pet people, I think more pet people probably do it more than you think. So because I hear every so I don't know, sometimes in conversation they'll like nonchalantly throw it out there like, okay, I could just keep these together or keep these in, because they think playmates, snakes, or at least outside of garter snakes and stuff, they want like playmates or something, or something like that. So
did people think the ring pythons were ring pythons, or did they think they were something else when they saw them? Did they think they were milk snakes?
It was a mixture. Some people did, and some people knew what they were right away. And it was a mixture of people, because I'll admit, like, they're kind of like that hoodwink snake. You think you're getting this bright candy corn orange and black snake, and then the orange turns more of like a bronze color, and then they're just I tell them you lose the color, but you get the iridescence and stuff. So you kind of flip flop. You lose that orange, but you get a nice, cool oil slick look to them.
Were you able to sell any of them?
Oh no.
Oh
I
no.
had people wanting to trade. Particularly there was one guy. I don't know if he was serious or not, but he was wanting to trade. He was asking if I would be interested in trading a beaded lizard for one, and I was like,
Would you take that trade?
I don't know. Part of me was like, this is pretty cool. I was looking at I forget his name. He's an old school herper out there in Colorado. He does lizards, snakes, all kinds of stuff. And he had some I think they were New Mexico what was it? Gila monsters, I think. And they look like Darth Maul. I mean, they were like the most interesting looking. I was like, damn, I guess the locality side of me was really piqued my curiosity when I started seeing the different looks, like bubblegum pink.
Are venomous lizards legal there when venomous rear-fang snakes are not?
Oh, you know what?
Whoops.
Aren't they illegal? Because didn't someone get in trouble last time for? Oh,
all right, we didn't hear about it.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Everyone forget that conversation.
What? Okay, never mind. You're right, Jessica. Can't believe you said that publicly. I didn't even think anything of it, too. I do remember that, too. I think it was the last show last show I went to, I heard something about it. But yeah.
No, I mean, they could have forgotten to like make a provision for that.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, potentially. Unless the law changes. I don't know. You think they would have changed for the Gilas if they changed for hognose? No,
they didn't even do it for like tricolor hogs or.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't keep track of that. I didn't know if it was other stuff along with the hogs or.
Yeah, I talked to a bunch of people about the hognose situation. Did anybody tell you that? Multiple people said to me like, "I'm waiting to buy a hognose when they're legal." I'm just here today to look around. Did anybody say that to you?
No, probably because I didn't have any kind of colubrids. Otherwise, they might have. But yeah, I was anticipating. I'm sure because I've heard a bunch of people interested in them, but just a bunch of ball python people I heard. But I don't. We'll see. We'll see if it'll transpire into actual interest or not. I don't know. I think the hognose market's just an interesting market in general, as far as like a species that has a lot going against it, but yet is as popular as it is. As far as like laws and stuff, and having to have permits and babies being a little more difficult and stuff like that.
Eating each other.
Yeah, eating each other and stuff. I figured that kind of stuff would be more of a deterrent, but man, people still really, really like those little hog noses, which I get. They're neat, but yeah. But they don't tickle your fancy. You prefer the corn snakes, milks, and the Asian rats.
Yeah, I mean, I have hognose. I have 3 species.
Oh, do you? I didn't know you. I didn't know you had hog noses.
I think they're okay. I just think I don't know. I'm not going to get in trouble with big hog. Are they going to come down on me? CIA hogs. I think they're not the best pet I've ever. Like, if you're like, I'm going to give somebody a snake for $50, I'm going to sell it to a pet person. I would not put them in the peak category for that. I put them in mid tier. You have to explain how to take them off so they don't get envenomated.
Yeah.
They're kind of weird. Like if you dig them up too much, they get scared. For like their enclosure.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they like hate you, but then they tolerate you. But if they tolerate you too much, they just want to eat you because they associate you too much with food. And then they throw themselves out of their cage to their death. You're like, stop, get back in there.
Oh man,
they're easier pet snakes.
I always like challenging Junior. I would always tell Junior, I goes like, man, you guys should be lucky that Australia doesn't allow exportations, because I will bet you money that the Antaresia clade would outtake the hog noses if they were had the opportunity to, because of just for the simple fact they don't have they'll still try to eat your fingers, but it's I think it's more, especially since ball pythons are so, because I hear people all the time talking about like, if you have ball pythons, you can do hog noses and stuff like that. And I'm just like, it's like, I don't know. If you kept a hog nose hot all the time, wouldn't that like Does that shorten their lives at all since they're used to brumations and cooler temps?
Maybe.
Because I
They
know
don't.
python, I know the Antaresia can handle it just well or just fine. So I mean,
Right. They
there
do want to
wouldn't.
be cooler than a ball python room typically is. Like they're
Yeah,
ambient. I
yeah.
just don't know if that. I think people
Equates to shorter life.
overfeed hog
Yeah.
noses for sure. For sure. Some of
Oh
them
yeah.
are thick.
Oh yeah. I remember. Oh, I remember hearing like people talk about my what was it, my 700-800 gram hog nose, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like this thing's like, I mean, this big around. I mean, it was
Right.
like a
No
limb.
neck.
Yeah.
No
No.
scale separated like a quarter inch.
Right.
I think those animals are going to die any day now.
Oh yeah.
Even
Yeah.
from whatever. Are you expecting Perthensis?
I'm trying again. I just got a clutch of spotted pythons today, so we'll see. I try not to hold out hope because those babies are a bit of a pain to get started. Out of all the Antaresia, I think those are, as far as getting established, are probably a bit more patience is involved with them because
Do you
yeah,
use lizard scenting or to just.
oh, I was using like actual morning geckos for a while, but then I ran out of morning geckos and I couldn't get it to switch the pinky, so it didn't end up making it. I was like,
Oh
damn.
no.
I go, so I had a method that worked pretty well. It's just I couldn't keep a constant flow of them going because I'm not gonna lie, the morning geckos would sit on top of the racks and I would forget about them after a while, and then like they wouldn't produce, and I was like, well, now they're just wasting my time if I can't produce from them. So I was like, I just need to get rid of these things. So I'd end up selling off the adults because I would slack off with the babies. I almost get better off if I could just give them to someone to produce for me and just give me the babies or something like that, or or give me the eggs or something. I don't know, either or, because yeah, I just such a pain.
Yeah, I think Antaresia would do good here if they had the morphs that they have in Australia
Oh
in
yeah,
general. That would
yeah.
jazz it up for
That's
at
the
least a
only
couple of
reason.
years.
That's the
Yeah.
only reason. I think the only thing I think hog noses, and I guess this could be subjective, is they're probably a bit cuter in the face with the little pug nose. But I guess that could be a subjective thing. If some people might find that creepy, I don't know. But yeah, I think in general the Antaresia would do really well over here, especially if you had a wider range of colors, which they do in Australia. You got, oh my god, all kind. I mean, just as much as hognose, maybe in different species though. That would be the only thing that would end up being it would end up like boas, carpets, a lot of that other stuff. Where all of a sudden there's like, what is there, 5 species of Antaresia, and they just suddenly become, one
Like a hobby mutt
hobby,
version.
yeah, version of it. At least some of them, anyways. I don't like certain
Yeah.
ones. I don't think would get mixed with like pygmy python or perthensis because as far as I know, there's only one morph in perthensis. It's the pearl. I don't know if it's been proved, and that's not even an Australian morph. That's a European morph, but I don't know what else come from it. So, but it's kind of gives you like a yellow belly ball python vibe, just in a Antaresia form. It's not totally white.
Is
It's
it
more of like
still in Denmark?
yep, yeah, I believe so. I don't even remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but yeah, yep, yep.
It looks cute.
That thing is a fat pygmy python too. I think puny little head and just huge body. It was just like the hog noses we're talking about. But yeah, as far as I know, it's proven inheritable. I can't remember incomplete dominant, recessive. I don't remember for the life of me because I wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. White snakes are cool, but I don't know. I kind of just like the wild type pygmy pythons a little bit more personally. But that's just me. I don't know. I like the wild type in a lot of stuff. Like honestly, if I could get more Australian stuff, it would be probably the some of those wheat belts that this I can't remember this guy's name. He works with this like exceptional group of pig or wheat belt Stimsons that are just like fire engine red, and like oranges and some creams along with the reds. I go, it's pretty impressive. So that's what I would personally like to work with, and some of the other Australian stuff too, other species of Australian stuff. But that's all pipe dreams, I guess. We'll, talk to any of us Australian guys. It's always if we could, or if we were able to,
Maybe Australia will trade pygmy pythons for oil.
Maybe, right?
Crude oil.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. Shots fired.
Ooh,
was there a pied pygmy or a pied spotted?
There was a Stimson's python allegedly. I don't know if it's an actual pied though.
A real?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I think they did reproduce it. Like I said, I don't follow too many of the Morse outside. I know there's quite a bit of them over there. Like I still get a kick out of the fact.
I know. I mean, it's probably just like abused.
Oh,
it looks pied. Looks like the like rainbow boa pied. Or
I was gonna say. Pied. Yep. All right. So it is reproducible then. Because I remember for a while there, a lot of Australian guys like claiming things being pied, but it's really like chimeric animals with like white splotches for, that are like pixelated or something towards the back end or somewhere randomly through the body. There was a guy with a black-headed one, I remember, who's kind of, I think it might be a pied or something like that. And it, it's kind of like, it's like the people that have those black-headed pythons that go through that like hormonal change where they go from like oh god, that's my brother. I would say don't acknowledge him.
Okay, don't feed the trolls.
Yeah, don't feed the troll. He'll keep trolling.
Okay.
But yeah, there was those blackheads that go through a hormonal change and go from like that standard like cream and black to like almost a bleached version of it. I don't know if you've seen them, but they are pink. Some will even turn pink. And I remember for years people were like, "Oh man, we're gonna breed this out and create this new blackhead morph," and it ends up just being, non-inheritable. So, yeah.
It would be cool if it was.
I mean, so with the calico retic, I remember that.
Yeah. Did anybody buy your white lip that was there?
I had two. No, I didn't. The other one stayed hidden. Yeah, it was staying hidden the whole time. It was like, you know what? I'll come up at night when the sheets are covered and the water's out, and as soon as it take everything away, right back under the substrate again to hide again. Now there wasn't. I think there was more interest in the ring pythons and the white lips. I don't. I guess mainly because I don't know. They're both fairly. I guess because you can still import white lips though, so I think they're probably a little less sought after compared to rings. But I don't. You generally the people who like rings typically like the white lips.
Is this the calico blackhead you were thinking of?
I do believe. Got me thinking.
It's crazy looking.
I've seen that, and then I've seen other versions where they were like, I think all white, and then they had like pink pattern almost.
Weird.
Yeah,
this is really weird looking.
Yeah,
a sea snake or something.
Right. But yeah, they
like an olive sea snake.
Right. It's neat. Like it's
weird.
That stuff's cool, but yeah, a lot of times
it never proved out.
Yeah, it never proves out. I mean, I think, and that's a problem too, is like most of that stuff happens in a lot of different species, but people they get so fixated in their species, they don't look outside of it, so they never equate. Like there was a green python one not too long ago that looked like a calico. It was like an aru or something someone found out in the wild. That was like, I guess it had white splotches starting to come out on it or come through on it, and people just immediately jumped up and thought it was some sort of pied or something in the chondra world. But again, it's just one of those random, well, in this case, I think a hormonal thing that just tends to happen to certain species for, I don't even know what reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, my theory has always been it's a form of like my brain's melting.
Like just like oh my gosh.
We're so done.
I'm drawing a blank. Like what's the female? I'm thinking of the male version. Like just a horse. Isn't there a version of it? Oh my god, I can't think of it. Drawing a blank. But yeah, I think it. I don't know. I wonder why though. It'd just be certain individuals, though that it is fairly rare.
Oh, okay. I got my word for it. I don't know what your word is. An autoimmune disorder. Like the body is rejecting a pigment, and it's attacking all the melanin or all the xanthan in a certain spot. So it's like any other autoimmune issue. Because, like, those ball pythons that'll turn gray.
Oh yeah, there was a guy walking around. There was a guy walking around today, or not today, Sunday, who was showing his pastel woma that changed.
And that one turned gray.
Yeah, it turned just gray, white.
Yeah, and it tends to be in pastel, but not always.
Yep,
I've seen it in pied too.
I've seen it in bumblebees. Yeah, I've seen it happen.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the blue steel ones were that. Or like they turn color.
It seems to be only in females too.
Yes. So like maybe there's something about being female that causes an autoimmune reaction where they attack all their xanthan.
Yeah.
All at once and they stop producing it.
Yeah. No, I could see that because like I said, it's retics, it's females. I don't know if it's real rare in males. I think all the blackheads have been females that have had it. The ball pythons, I think all the ball pythons I've ever heard had it. I mean, even what's his face? John Daig, his stormtrooper.
The stormtrooper
was a female.
Do you think the stormtrooper was stormtroopering because it was doing that, or was it doing the black xanthic, black TSK thing? Or do you think those are separate things? Because remember how it turned like a desert ghost look first?
Yeah.
Like it lost color first, and then it added black. So you think it was doing both things at the same time, or do you think those are connected?
It could have been. Yeah, that's interesting. Could have been. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I forgot about the black xanthic thing. Yeah, that definitely could have been it.
Yeah. I was watching like old interviews with him because I'm like psychotic or something. I'll be like, let me watch a 14-year-old YouTube video about ball pythons.
Oh, it's all right. We all do it. Listen to old videos from back in the day.
I just want to know, I don't know, like, what is the shape of things now in the context of the past? So I spend all my time, maybe too much time, not really looking forward, but like looking back to be like, okay, what's the clues? Let me go through ballpythons.net.
Yeah.
And find a thread from 16 years ago about bananas.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly.
I think the way he was talking about her is interesting because she desaturated first, which isn't like the normal darkening up TSK thing. Thing.
He never got that thing. I heard he bred it once. Was it like once, maybe, or something?
I never heard anything about it after a certain point.
I heard it. He struggled. Like it became I guess phrasing it up, it became a crappy feeder after a while. It just didn't hardly ate. And I swear he said he bred it, but I don't remember what he got. I don't even know if he ever ended up shed testing the animal just to see what all was potentially in it or anything.
Right. I want to know if she was still alive when he sold his collection or was still around. Like I don't know that either.
It was years. This man, I couldn't even tell you how long ago, 4 or 5 years maybe, when he was, because I mean that animal was at 10 years old, I think, wasn't it, or something like that. It's a pretty old animal. I thought. I swear I remember that stormtrooper thing from like, what was
2017.
I thought even older than that. I don't know. I lose track of time. I don't know.
Oh yeah. She is interesting. I just wondered where she went because she's like, as a singular animal, she's a very famous ball python.
Oh yeah.
In her own right. Like, so where'd she go?
Well, you know what other animal that was? It came around that. I think it came around pretty close to around that same time. Mark Petros, and it ended up being he called it the blue ghost, but it was just like I guess same situation or something along the lines where it was just a ghost that had more of a blue hue to it. That I think it was just variation within the animal. I don't think it was actual like particular trait, because I've seen adult ghosts that can be anywhere from like greens, yellows, almost some with a blue hue to it. But I'm talking like big old females, hypos of different kinds.
Honestly, as far as $50 snakes go, an adult female, just hypo ball python is one of the best looking snakes around.
Yeah. Oh,
even just like normal, because they're crazy looking as adults in terms of like.
Oh, they can vary so much. Just
they're and like the weird orange and yellow underneath, like add to the jazziness of it, because it's like slate blue, green coming through where the yellow hits, but it's like orange model where the sides are. It's one of the best looking snakes around. $50. Buy one now. I don't understand the hobby.
I remember when no one cared about hypo. I mean, it was like the dirt trait. It was a spider of like 2015, 16. People just didn't want nothing to do with it. They were just. It was where the non-het animals were selling more than the het hypo animals of the same gene. So they would just take and I started having hypos pop out of some of my puzzle stuff and everything too, because I just didn't know. I mean, I should have figured, but yeah, hypo was in some of that stuff.
I just like to do like a complex looking color changer. Like desert ghosts are fine, but they're not very complex looking to me. They look very, I'm yellow and black, and that's fine. Like he cleaned it up, but like hypos are they've got a lot of nuance that makes them more interesting.
Oh yeah, more complexity to it. I think desert ghost is kind of, if you just like that muted animal, like if you wanted that almost stormtrooper looking animal, I think that's where the desert ghost kind of shines for the most part. I mean,
sometimes desert ghosts are cooler when they're like nastier looking to me. Like,
how nasty are you talking?
like the normal desert ghost as an adult is cooler to me than like the pastel desert ghost as an adult. Even though like the pastel empirically looks better, the normals have like these like really like crystallized black speckles that are really intensely like where they're gonna get dirty. And I'm like, if you could nasty that up more, it would be more interesting to me.
Right?
Is that weird?
No, because I kept back I have this pastel desert ghost. I got like, I'm so bad about this. I'll get something because it looks really cool, and then I won't breed it, and I'll just keep it because I breed my own rodents and I don't pound things with, crazy amount of food. So it doesn't really cost much, but I'll just keep it for, I'm trying to even think how old this snake is. And I've still yet to get a clutch from him. But I got him because I was originally going to do a selective breeding project, but then I realized how much stuff I have going on and how I can't afford to take up more space for more projects. So I was like, oh, wait, I don't know why I'm doing this. But it was a pastel desert ghost it was a local buddy to me, and he had like 3 siblings. He had 2 standard pastel desert ghosts, and then you had him in the middle, who was like almost like a low grade pastel axanthic desert ghost.
Oh, he's one of the worms that would turn
real muted. But he was like that from the beginning, and I was just like, I bet I could breed him to look almost better than people's pastel axanthic desert ghosts. But then I was like, man, that'd be a lot of work. So I was like, I chickened out at the last minute. But I still have them. So I'm like, I don't even know what I want to do with you. You're just kind of sitting here till I figure out what I guess I want to do with it. I thought about putting like tri-stripe because I like the desert ghost tri-stripe stuff, but I don't know.
I made my double het TG tries last year, but empirically, if I'm thinking hard, I would rather have a hypo tri-stripe. Technically.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No,
whatever.
I think,
all right.
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on. I honestly prefer the hypo too. My shoot, I don't even know how old she is now. She's probably 11 years old. She's a pastel hypo, just pastel
Mm-hmm.
hypo, and she's like still as bright as she was when she was a baby.
I know. They're so nice. Everyone should buy a 10. That's my
Right.
advice. So nobody bought the white lips. Were they scared of white lips? Did they know what white lips were? Do you feel like your messaging on the rare species is, I don't know. I go back to like, do we need signs? Like I had pictures this time because I'm like, I don't know how to explain anything to anybody.
It's usually I find, and this has still been the case in all the years I've brought in white lips to shows and for sale too. I've only ever sold one white lip at a show. And I mean, since I've been bringing white lips to shows since sometime in 2022, I think was when my first clutch. And then whenever I got them established, I'd start taking them to shows, but people just, they don't really, their reputation isn't, I don't know. It's weird. I'll hear more people talk about how bitey a baby carpet is more so than a white lip, because the people who know what white lips are, I think, know what they're getting into and is just intrigued with that species. And it's a novelty because I think most often than not, most people aren't going to see captive bred ones at least at shows. So it kind of takes them back when they go, oh, a white lip. I hear more of that, especially even with the rings and stuff too. It's like, oh, I didn't expect to see these at the show. It's more like just more of a surprise moment. They just had no idea. But the general public, it turns into more like I said, this is when YouTube would come in handy. Is start YouTube videos on something like a well scripted YouTube video on white lips or ring pythons, because the problem, because you can find that stuff on YouTube, but it's just very, guy talking about a snake in his hand or in an enclosure, not real, like, I'm not saying it has to be Justin Kobylka, like Dark Room or something like that, but I'm not saying it doesn't have to be Justin quality, video, but if someone like put in the time and work and stuff, they could really emphasize on the white lip pythons and stuff, because it becomes more educational at shows, like me just explaining what a white lip is. Do they make good pets? Probably not if you don't know what this is, because you might be a little surprised when it tries to bite you. So I try to be very honest with people, as far as like expectations with some of these animals, because I think sometimes we think these animals are going to shit gold and just love us as much as our dogs sometimes, but I think
so do you bring them knowing you're probably never going to sell it and you just want to talk about white lips, or do you hold out hope somewhere that like another vendor maybe had a good show and will come buy white lips?
I generally, I don't know. I kind of like it kind of gives me the opportunity to go to shows. Like, as far as like when I tell, on the vendor list or the, what animals I'll have, if I put white lips, I'll be like, oh, white lips, or rings or something. That's kind of like we don't see that often on the list. So it kind of helps me get a foot in the door for stuff, but other than that, I do enjoy going and just talking about them too. Cause I go there knowing I'm probably not going to sell one, even to other vendors, I'll hear a lot of like, ooh, I'm real interested in this, or, oh, this is really cool. Or, occasional, like, hey, would you trade whatever else I have for this? And
so do you need the ball pythons then? Because that's what you need to sell in a way. Like, the carpets fill that role sometimes, like the thing that you're selling the most of.
Sometimes. So like, I can't remember how Georgia was like a mixing pot of a bunch of different things I sold, but Virginia was mainly carpet pythons. I think I barely sold much in the way of ball pythons and stuff. And that was when I sold one white lip too. That was like the holy cow.
That was
Didn't think that would have
time.
happened. Yeah. And then Colorado.
I think Anthony's asking the price on white lips.
Kind of depends. Like, when I get to, generally with my captive bred ones, they can range anywhere from like $700 to $800. And then whenever if I'm down to my last two, I've already bring them up to 1,000 just because it's like I don't mind keeping them because I may not produce them. I usually get my female every other year, and I'm trying a younger female to see, but it doesn't look like I think anything's going to happen this year. So I don't mind keeping it till once I get another clutch. Not to mention, I'd like to keep more females back for myself because I only have the older girl and then this younger one. And the older girl, I mean, she's 3 clutches in, and I don't know how many more potential clutches I should expect from her. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of one of those like I wouldn't mind keeping another female. So it's like one of those like, oh, I'll sell it. If not, I'll just keep it, or whichever. Because I'm not usually in a big like rush with that kind of stuff. It was like like Dave, like when it was a Tracy Barker, I guess, said when it comes to pricing or selling something, it's like, what's the likelihoods of you making this again or in the near future? If it's is it something common you have, then it kind of can dictate, within reason. I have to say, if you were selling white lips and stuff for like COVID prices, be different, but within that.
Do you think we should go back to a pricing model like that, or like for ball pythons?
For ball python pricing.
This is my face. It's like,
oh, really? Yeah, it's all over the place.
What the price would be of any ball python.
I will say with the ball pythons, it's so confusing because I don't get on Morph Market very often. So like when I price stuff, I kind of have like a price in my head, but then when it sits there for a while, I go, holy shit, and then I might browse a little bit of Morph Market and go. Or shows. I'll look at shows too, and I'll be like, damn, prices are way, quite a bit lower than I was anticipating. And I was just like, oh, man. That's the one thing with the species, though, is it's very organic. Not all species, but there are quite a few of them that are much more organic. Like if they were up in price, there was usually a steady decline rather than just like, 50, 75% decrease depending on the animal.
In 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year. Yeah, no, or some of it's like I said, I don't know. Like I said, it's my fault too because I should be more proactive and looking that stuff up. But it's like I got a full-time job, and I go. What's reasonable?
Well, it's been crazy. Honestly, it's been crazy. Like I will fight anybody. I know this is a podcast about a show, but I literally think the ball python prices have changed faster this time than any other downturn in the past. And I know I don't technically know that, but I'm biased because I compared it to like the banana price collapse. It's just as fast. So like as like the worst case scenario, a sex-linked codom that's like makes only males. It's just as bad as that for some combos now, and that's crazy because they're not a banana that only makes sons.
And back then was like a lot more shady stuff going on too. I don't remember, was it the banana trade, I think, or was it the sunset? It might even been the sunset. I can't remember which one it was. But do you remember years ago, this back in the forum days, so maybe it wasn't sunset, but there was a somebody wanted to get into, we're going to say bananas just for sake of the argument. Someone wanted to get into that project. So what they did was they stole someone's pictures, posted it for sale for whatever price, and whatever price they had in their head, which is clearly lower than the asking price or significantly lower than the asking price. And they essentially caused a panic. But I don't know if it was a long-term panic because I don't remember like the exact like the long-term repercussions of it. If it was like a catalyst of another dip, from if they were like 20,000, like 5,000 or 10 or whatever it was.
Was that with Mojave? Did that happen to Mojave?
No, I think no, it wasn't Mojave. That was from oh my goodness, the used car salesman, a different one, older used car salesman, and he used to do, oh my God, it's right on the tip of my tongue to his name. He would do commercials like car sales commercials on ball pythons.
But for snakes?
Yeah, but for snakes.
Are they still on YouTube?
I couldn't find, awesome. I wish I could remember his name, and I don't know if it was YouTube. Man, I wish I was following forums more. But could you post videos on forums? Do you remember?
I don't think they were hosted internally on the forum because I think they were too big.
This was like right.
Link.
Yeah, this would have been the year when Mojaves were in that like $3 to $5 grand range, I believe, and it was Mojaves I'm thinking of in particular when you said that. So that's why I was like, oh, I remember. I can't remember his name. It's like right on the tip of my tongue too. But if you ask any, like Marshall would probably know. Marshall could probably tell you exactly who it was who did it. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, I don't think that's what's happening necessarily.
Like today.
I just feel like everybody's like, "Fuck, I don't know what the price should be." So like, I guess I'll cut $100 off the lowest price, and then they keep doing that. And then all of a sudden they're all like $100, and you're like, okay.
Well, yeah, I think it's just people. Yeah, it said people are panicking, and then they just all price it to whatever makes, what they think it, or well, not even what they think. I guess it would be worth, but there's that fast turnaround to make up for lost times. I guess essentially, and they just, I don't know, they're just throwing whatever out there to see what they can get. Because I think you're right though. I think. Man, I think overall, though, this has been the most decline in a bunch of different projects. As far as like banana, I mean, I don't know. I guess Tornado was still fairly expensive because I know Sunset and Scale has kind of came in after the banana crash, and people were spending a bit for that project. But I know the Tornado, it sounds like, what it sounds like it is? It sounds like people are scrounging around to find something that's different, but it's not truly different. Not to say Tornado's like this, but like, I guess I'll talk shit like the Cosmos and all that.
It's a lot of different granite types all at once.
Yeah.
All of a sudden are supposed to be expensive.
And
some of them are cooler than other ones, but like.
Yeah. I think it's sheerly variation. I think it's no different. It's like, I remember it was like the Nanny thing, the Grim thing. I don't think it's any different. Atari.
Shrapnel. There's a bunch.
I remember.
And Paint is a really good
Pixel is
already
Pixel?
proven. Yeah. I don't know. It's just a confusing time, I think, because people are looking for something, and they're all kind of interesting, but like.
Right. Well, it's like you see it. You're seeing it now, I guess, with like a lot of the what is it? The scrambler stuff, and then there's some other stuff too. I can't remember the other gene, but people are looking for.
Do you want to chime in on your opinion of scrambler?
Go ahead. I don't have an opinion.
I don't even know if I want to. Right. I think, here's what I think. I think Calico is cool and everyone should buy some. I think that's my answer. Like if it has scrambler or not, the thing that they like about it is like
the base, how it raises,
dragged out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calico
you need Calico for that. Come on.
Yeah. No.
So if scrambler is or isn't a gene, you should still like Calico and OD because that's like a cool look. If it has scrambler, cool. If it doesn't, cool.
Yeah.
But like the base thing, Calico OD, isn't that expensive. Maybe that should be more expensive. What about that?
Isn't it weird how we choose what we think should be more valuable when there's other things that either are technically better, but the hobby just doesn't want to see it that way? Or I don't know. It's like
I guess everyone decided Calico OD was common and lame, but like that's Scrambler. If it exists, is adding just fire to that awesome already base or whatever. So let's just like all of it. Because I think they like that look, like a campfire look.
Yeah, no, right? Exactly. Yeah, no, that's
like campfires. And if there's scrambler in it, cool. If it's not, you still like campfires because you just paid $1,500 for a campfire. So let's just like that.
Right. Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't have it, so my opinion doesn't count.
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of
as far as I know, I don't have it. I don't know. Yeah. Subtle genes like that, it'd have to something really has to stick out to me for me to want to keep it back, notice it. And even then, I don't I don't know. I don't have the time or space for anything that would be, I don't know, quote, dinker or not. Kind of like with puzzle. Like, I mean, I look at puzzle as like, I'll keep back the best looking puzzle. So what'll probably, you know, inevitably will happen is I'll start getting like funky looking puzzle, like not in puzzles, het puzzles that start looking more different than what my hets used to look like back when I started breeding puzzles, because I selected towards a certain look that it will inherently change what the normals probably look like. Rather, it's more blocky looking animals, connected patterns, things that most people I think would look at and be like, oh, is this a different gene? You know? Well, no, it's probably a numerous amount of genes, not just one particular gene you're used to know or hearing about, you know? So
do you think you've figured out which base look makes your favorite kind of puzzle yet?
I don't want to say yes, because I had like a look where like, man, I kid you not, she's a candy het puzzle. When she originally hatched out, I almost thought she was a puzzle. She had that real blocky pattern. And then when you saw her head, it was just clearly just a normal candy. But I was just like, oh my God, this thing's going to make spectacular looking puzzles with this, how visually, like almost pattern puzzle wise she had. Then she pops out some, well, I didn't produce any candy puzzles, but I popped out normal puzzles out of her, and they were very like basic. Like they weren't as good. Now, granted, if I bred them back, you know, either to each other or back to her, that might be different. But I mean, the father, the male to that clutch, was a sibling anyways. So I mean, I didn't get a whole bunch of different like looks I was anticipating, but I wonder if the more blockier pattern, like not so much connected, but more alien heads, but more uniformed. You know what I mean? I don't know if like more of them. I don't know if that might be, because I have some interesting looking double head. What is it? Tri-stripe puzzle, double head tri-stripe puzzles, and pastel double heads that look really, really interesting. And I don't know.
Do you like the puzzle try?
I didn't mind it. I don't know. It varies. Here's the problem. I don't base it off of one animal because of how variable puzzle is. So I'm always real hesitant to say rather I like this one. I thought it looked neat for like, I was thoroughly surprised how much puzzle kind of overpowered the tri-stripe, or at least to me, how it like just strong the puzzle was in it. But I mean, looking at both tries and puzzles, they do have very similar characteristics. So they probably play similar to like leopard and puzzle, how they have similar characteristics. So when you put two together, you get a very like strong striped animal. So I think I couldn't imagine tri-stripe not being any less than what that was essentially. So I don't know.
I think it's very interesting, the puzzle tribe, but I don't know if it's gonna have like 20 years of sea legs of all different combos tolerating it or whatever, but like
it might have been a novelty, like people were like, oh, that was neat, and then just kind of move on from it. Because like if you look at like the so like with the tri-stripe and puzzle, they both work with different genes better than each other. Like as far as like, I tell people I really like Inchy and puzzle, but I'm not a huge fan of leopard and puzzle because they just work too similarly with each other. Yeah, like to me that is like very strong puzzle. I mean, obviously you can see the tri-stripe in it, but like
it's like the definition of like puzzle back. It's like you smushed all the puzzle onto the back.
Oh, yeah. So
even honestly, though that's a name for a different combo.
Well, here's the problem. I think if you add anything patterns wise, literally the only pattern I would want to see in that might do something interesting is Hurricane. might be interesting, or a Hayabusa or something like that. But it like Inchy, I think, would just take away from it. Inchy would literally, because Inchy. So I don't think Inchy works well with tri-stripe, because Inchy eliminates a lot. I think animals that have more keyholes will play better with tri-stripe compared to, you know, vice versa with like puzzle or something. So I think like Inchy would probably ruin that. Like, this is all hypothesis. I don't know for sure. But I think leopard would probably just take that too far and just make it totally striped, where you don't get the more intricate back patterns to it. And I don't know. I think that animal, like, color might be the only option you really have. Maybe. Do you have a theory?
I don't know. Like, because there's no eyes on the side, you're not doing any tri-striping, really. You're just asking tri-stripe to pull the puzzle on the back. So you would only be worried about things that make puzzle do stuff. So maybe like the Bell complex genes, but they might end up being like
too reducing,
just a big blob. Like it will like blob everything together.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I just think it's interesting that, like, because a tri-clown is kind of boring. A puzzle clown is very boring because clown is too strong. But together they are like equally weak or equally strong, if you want to put it that way. And so they let each other do something. And I think that's interesting. It's better than like a G-stripe puzzle, respect.
Right.
Guzzle.
Or the guzzle. Or the did you see that? Didn't someone make a tri G-stripe?
Yeah. It's about as cool as the guzzle. It's not that exciting.
I would say not much better, huh?
Right. Yeah. It's fine. We gotta try stuff to figure it out. But this one is more interesting to me intellectually, the tri puzzle. So respect, Kyle.
I think. Yeah.
What do you think was up with the carpet female fighting the male? Lisa.
So I got a clutch of gelatins, and I took a picture the year prior. I put them together. They combated like two males would, like trying to, you've seen carpets where they try to shove each other down. Mm-hmm. Well, most people, when they see that, they immediately think, oh shoot, I have two males. And that's what I thought too originally, because I never got production from them prior. So I probed them. They probed male, female. I felt follicles in the female. So I was like, there's no way this isn't a female. And I waited till she, I don't know, the sweet spot to me with some carpets is like, usually whenever it's like, I drop the temperatures to around 75 and it seems like trigger, oh, something's changing. So I don't know if hormones start kicking in, they get more in the mood. Mm-hmm. But I've seen this stuff in ball pythons. You ever put two ball pythons, are male and female, and they make this loud banging noise? You ever done that?
I always just assumed she thought he was nasty and she wasn't into him specifically. It was like an incompatibility.
I think it was just, I think a lot of times it's just wrong timing. That female's just not, and then on top of it, I'm not gonna lie, the cage wasn't that big. It's no different than some of the ball pythons. The tubs aren't that big because they can't really get that far away from each other. They're kind of still stuck near each other. And if they don't want each other near each other, they're going to probably fight with each other till one moves on or gets away. Because I've done this with male carpets where I've thrown two males together, two albino Darwins in with a het albino Darwin, because they separate just interchangeably putting them in there. And even with sheds, they never really showed any interest, like as far as in the breeding, as far as I could, well, I'm assuming because she never bred till I did this. So I just decided to throw both of them together because they're literally identical to each other, instead of coloration wise. But threw them together, nothing. They didn't do anything with each other. They're, kind of like that two bumps on a log. They just kind of sat there. They would sit on each other, wouldn't play no mind. And then I got frustrated, so I left them. I just left them for the day or maybe even a couple days. Well, one day I walk in on the plexiglass, I see blood splatter on the wall of the cage. I go, oh shit. So I go over there and I notice so one of them got bit, like had the lashes on them from like just a bite. And I'm like, oh damn. But then, don't ask me why, I left them in there. Still didn't pull them apart because they just went their separate ways. They were in big enough enclosures where one would hide while the other one sat with the female. And I just left them. And then occasionally the other male, once the dominant male left, the satellite male came in. And I never saw the satellite male breed, but it certainly isn't, we know in a bunch of animals that does happen. So I'm sure it could have. So he would leave whenever the other male decided to go back up there. They wouldn't fight, but it was like they had this coherent, like, all right, time to move on. While they, I'm assuming that the one who's won the fight, which is funny enough, he was the one that got most scarred up. I don't know if it's because he was winning and the male didn't have any other defense other than try to bite him, because he had lashes all up and down his back whenever he got done. But I was just like, I don't know, these two Darwins seem to be more motivated when they actually can, like, fight with each other. And
so, do you think carpets want multiple paternity? The females? Do you think they can tolerate one male, but they would prefer to take their choice of the boys? Or
seems like with diamond pythons. Yeah, it seems like diamond pythons will do it. Seems like a lot of the cool species seem to be more into that, like multiple males, kind of like the anaconda style. Like I've seen it with southern African rocks where you'll get this big female and one or two or three, even like smaller males, either hovering or sitting on top of the female. And then I've seen it in Bolins. Well, it sounds like the people having success with Bolins are people who interchangeably move males in and out between them, so.
Well, I had 4 male ball pythons run train on one female ball python. I mean, Eiffel Tower, high five, whatever. She laid 4 more eggs than normal this year, viable eggs. So she went from 8 to 12. She's always laid 8. What do you think about the hot ones winning all that man gravy? Also?
All the man gravy. That's interesting. I
didn't combat them. I was just like, I don't know what to breed you to. Yeah. And she's recessive, so I could breed whatever, and they'd all be het for that. And I have a bunch of supers. And I was like,
I think combat is more. I think combat and pythons in particular is more like diverse than we think, because I remember like back in the day, people used to say, if you put olives together, they will kill each other. Retic people, I used to hear, if you put 2 males together, they'll kill each other. And I think, I don't even want to say most of the time, a portion of the time that might be true, but I think some of the time it's not true. Because I remember Ben had 2 male retics, and he was selling one, and he was giving the guy the cage too. Well, the one he was selling was towards the bottom of the stack of the cages. And he said, all right, let's just switch to 2 males so we don't have to take all these other cages out. We just move the male into the other one's cage. We disinfected it, cleaned them out, but the smell was still in there apparently, because the one male lost his mind, flung the ceramic bowl all over, was flexing, bowing, trying to, was clearly visually, trying to fight with something, because he was, he smelt the male or the other male. But then the other male couldn't care, didn't even phase him. Now, could he have been triggered maybe a couple months later down the road, or even a few weeks? Maybe.
I think his testes were at a position that he would respond to the stimuli of a male. Because we've been talking about testicles a lot in the member live, and canopies, of course.
Right. You said live.
Because Lisa's thinks that her white lips junk gets more girthy during white lip breeding season. So they're experiencing developmental changes, not just at maturity, but seasonally.
Well, is that whenever they're replenishing their load, essentially, because they only get one and done. Is that them just
Right, but their junk is also stimulated. So maybe there's like a hot time for some python species where they're like running hot. Their junk is developed. They've already made their semen. Like we're talking about a lot. I'm already sorry. Let's just apologize. Because like spermagenesis in some species happens like continuously in a period of time. In some species it happens the year before, and they use sperm that's stored like in stuff that brumates or whatever, and they deploy it. But maybe pythons have like a window sometimes where they have 3 months where they make it, and that's it. Maybe, I don't know.
As far as I know, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they know like a time frame, but it's just they produce once a year.
So like maybe they will only fight in combat a male when their testicles tell them to, and otherwise they're just like, I don't really care.
Yeah, well, I guess the fighting stimulates more.
Right.
I guess what would it be? Do you think it could active like go from like a male?
It could be all of it. It could be suppressive if they're a loser and they get depressed. Yeah. It could be increasing if they're a winner.
Yeah.
Or they can maybe only fight when it's the right time to fight. Just like an elephant in Must, where they like are normally pretty cool, but when they're being a hoe bag, they want to fight rhinos for no reason. There's like, fuck,
right.
I'll fuck this up. Right. Fuck this rhino in particular. Did Chuck Poland Cohab do one Halmahera Scrubs?
That I don't know.
What is that about?
That I don't know. I don't remember him. If he did, he might have kept them in a big enough cage. It may not have made a difference. Like I said, I think there's numerous factors to it. I don't think it's just one. I think it's like what we're talking about. It's probably could be personality of an animal, could just be seasonality, could be enclosure size. Like, let's face it, I think a lot of times we run into trouble because we just keep things in too small of an enclosure, and they just can't get away from each other. So they're forced to be near each other or tolerate each other, or if you give them something bigger, they just get away. Like I said, it's weird how the
albino subordinate, right?
Yeah, it's just weird. I've just noted like with the albino carpet, because it sounds terrible, but I would just leave them together, because once they fought and scarred each other up a little bit, it's like they knew their role, like almost like, all right, well, I'm just gonna stay hidden, and then when it's my turn, never phase their feeding. They still eat. It's not I know it hasn't, or they haven't noticed any kind of one male crashes or anything like that. They just beat each other up. They know the routine. And it's like they get the work or they don't. I don't. But I've noticed with ball python, I think ball pythons are probably obviously by far the largest sample size I've seen with this, where I've had, for the longest time I used to think it was a size thing. I used to think if a big male, the bigger you let a male get, because male pythons will get just as big as a female or bigger in some cases, depending if combat is more of a thing in that species. But I noticed smaller males seem to be, I used to think smaller males would be less inclined to combat because they just don't have the size to combat most males, I think, for the most part. But then I would keep, I've had some big males where they just don't care. And then I've had it in reverse, where the big males would do exactly what you think they do, just bully everything else and, get to the breeding when they need to. And then I've had smaller males where they would combat with each other, and then kind of like the carpet pythons, they would just do their separate thing. One would breed, the other would just sit away. And then I had others where they would just interchangeably breed with each other, with females. It was like a group orgy in there, essentially. They were just, everyone was doing
males were breeding with each other.
Yeah. I'll show you a picture of a Savu python. I'll show you a picture of a Savu python. You'll get an absolute kick out of. I have two males in.
Like heated rivalry? Were they playing hockey too, or?
They were. So what happened is, so the younger male was breeding this old male. I mean, this male's 18 years old, and he's locked. Well, his tail's, in a locking position with this other male, and I take a video of this going, of course this would happen with my Savus. And then as I'm taking a picture, the little male just looks at me like he just got busted. It was the most hysterical looking, like, like, oh shit, I got busted for, like, he just gave me that look like he got caught for or doing something he wasn't supposed to. But it was pretty entertaining.
I sometimes I think the smell, it's like amplexus and frogs, like the smell of something good's happening, so they don't know where to latch onto, and so they'll latch onto whatever, but the smell is in the air because frogs will amplex shoes, salamanders, fish.
Right.
Because like I paired 2 boas to 1 female boa this year. They don't fight. They just all want to fuck as hard as possible. But they'll be backwards because they can't figure out where her head is because it's confusing. They'll be courting his body, and there's just juices everywhere. And I mean, it was kind of hot. But I don't think they were being gay. I just think they didn't know where to put themselves. Per se.
I've seen males court each other that I know are proven breeders that've been around the block before. I don't know if it's their version of dominating or they just have such high breeding testosterone where they're just
responding.
They're breeding everything. There's no shame in their game. They're just like,
it literally is gay. That is correct.
Yeah,
it is some yaoi python action. We love that for us.
Yeah. Yep.
I just was impressed by how many eggs she decided to go the distance. Is what I was like, usually like ball pythons, it's about the same number. Like it can go up like as they get older, but they don't always jump 4. And I was like, 4?
So, and I guess there wasn't any signs you could tell of like something like different
happened?
No, I mean,
and
like because you think it was a dual sire clutch? You think both males?
I think it was a quad sire clutch. I think she took it all in from everybody she could get a hold of.
Oh, I definitely will try that. Like, I definitely will try to just throw as many.
I didn't want her to have more babies. That wasn't the goal, but it just happened, and I was like, "Fuck!" Was she like so into it this whole time? She was like, "Yeah, we got this." Because I'm one of the people when I breed ball pythons, I'll have like 8 good eggs, 1 slug. That has happened to me a lot recently.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Why 1? And it's like, is she ovulating too fast and she doesn't like fully yoke the 1 slug? Why is it always 8 and 1? It's like a full set, and then she had to ovulate, and then we got a slug. And I'm like, she didn't have that 1, and I was like, okay, maybe she felt like she had the full breadth of courtship or something.
Yeah. No, I've experienced both of it. That's why I tell people, like, depending on your size collection, I think sometimes ambient can assist you more than hurt you in most cases, because I tell people it's easier to heat and control one big area than it is a bunch of micro areas, as far as like keeping this particular rack or cage from getting a certain temperature, this area getting a certain temperature, because most of us just plug in a whole rack, and a rack usually is like however many high, or even cages, and there's like different levels of heat in that rack or cage, and you never know failures with probes or thermostats, or or just knocking a probe out, and then that can alter your season right there. Because I've had ARS racks where the probe, essentially, I think the probe fell off and it spiked, but it didn't spike like to kill anything. It just spiked that threw a bunch of females in a premature ovulation, and I got like a bunch of either infertile eggs, half slugs, infertile eggs and stuff like that. So
right, to me, it'll kill the sperm.
Yeah, it can
in them, even if they're not on the hot spot, if they get too hot.
Yep. So I think it's just
and then they'll either slug out or they'll slug out / partial partheno, because they're just like, I don't know what to do with this. And then you get a bunch of pretzels coming out the other end.
I had an instant where I think I did the reverse though, where I kept particularly a python too cold, and it was a ring python, and I was keeping everything ambient, but I noticed, because I keep everything in the AP enclosed racks, not like the economy racks, which would have been better for ambient because they let a lot more airflow. Well, more central racks are harder to heat up, especially if you're doing a cooling and heat, like a cool down and stuff, because then once you heat it back up, it takes a while for that heat to translate through all that. and I noticed particularly with coconut husk, things you keep on coconut husk too, because I think what happens when the outside of the tub heats up, it evaporates the moisture in the coconut husk and well, not dries, but like cools the air in the tub, so it's not actually getting to those temperatures. And I noticed ring pythons. I was breeding my first female ring, and man, she took forever. Like she would just build, or she had this build, and she just would stay stagnant. And I don't know if it might have had to do because I would temp gun her tub, and she was staying around like anywhere from 74 to 77, and she wasn't getting. And that's it. I mean, I know no other heat. So I've learned to, with those particularly central racks, like I said, they're in the center of because usually I keep the racks are in a row, butt up against each other. Some of those I'll kick on like a little bit of heat, like, just enough belly heat to just make it about whatever it is in the room, not much more, so I don't run into issues, hopefully. So I haven't had too much problems yet.
For ring pythons, they need stimulation from a male to start follicular growth, or they do follicular growth without a male due to like feeding and or room temp? I think both.
I think it could be both, because last year I had another female. So I had the first female who was building. She was another one of those instances where she took a while. She was building, and then got up to like that pretty, like, clearly she was building for an ovulation, but it wasn't a full blown ovulation at that. But she stays stagnant like that. I'd have to go back and look, but it was a long time. But the male would vigorously breed. I mean, every single time I put that male in, he was breeding her. And then I was feeding her probably just as heavy as the other female, but she took a while. And then I noticed the other female was so vigorous with food that I started hammering her with food. And as I did that, I threw that male in with her too, just to say, just fuck it. She was the one, the prior laid that half-ass clutch for me whenever the temperatures were lower than I wasn't wanting them to be. So this year I adjusted and fixed that, and I threw the male in with her, and she just like any other python, just went through the motion at a regular standard time for what I see in pythons for the most part, and just went right in ovulation, laid pretty much a perfect clutch, or almost perfect, compared to the other girl who
you fast the rings before, like during the cold. Do you fast them during the cold time?
No, I feed them. No, I still feed. I fast them in the summertime, and then I'll feed them through the winter, and then I'll hammer them harder whenever I'm done cooling. Like I'll kick it up to either more frequent feedings or maybe a couple extra smaller meals, depending, one or the other. But I noticed that one girl, though, the one that took forever, she ovulated, but I think she still has a retained slug in her.
Oh no. Well, hopefully it comes out next year as like a mummy.
Yeah, that's what I'm anticipating. I think a water python I had do that to me too. She ended up slugging out on me, and I think that might have to do with a male I didn't realize was potentially sterile. I don't know. I'm assuming he's sterile because this is a female that's laid a perfect clutch for me, and from everything, and it seems to be true. It sounds like if the female lays something and it's bad,
she was trying.
Well, I think it's more the male that might have issues, depending, because I've had this male breed one female that laid a half-ass clutch and parthoed, and then I bred her to this other female that just slugged out, and the female that parthoed bred to my original male had a perfect clutch, and the female that slugged out this year, 2 years prior, laid a perfect clutch, bred to the original male I had, or still have. So,
well, how many strikes do you give somebody, male python wise, before you cut them off?
Oh man,
that's a lot of production lost on one male's bad spunk.
Yeah,
hypothetically bad spunk.
This is, You ever check the sperm of any of your pythons? Too much
I don't
work?
have a microscope, but I probably would for fun.
I would probably
for
do it,
science.
but I don't know if I don't know if I'd. I'm tempted to do it, like after, because I don't know. It's funny, like I never even thought about doing that till I heard Ben Morrill and them telling Steven and them about it, and I was like, huh. I don't know why that's never crossed my mind. Like it's never was a thing, because I always just assumed I was just like, you know, how do you know?
Well, his track record is still bad. So if he has viable sperm, but he's like, I don't know, like let's say the morphology of his hemipenes is not good for sperm to climb up, like it's nasty.
Yeah.
I don't know, because all these things the sperm actually has to travel up the side of the hemipenes of this little valley, and it's supposed to be locked in there so that they cannot fly out and not get lost. He might just be bad at staying in. He might have a weird channel. There might be another defect that isn't live sperm. That means he's still not a good sire for your collection.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, well, maybe he does have live sperm, but who would that? It doesn't mean he's good. He's obviously 2 for 2 in the bad category.
Yeah.
So in like ball python land, I'm just like, bye.
Right.
Pet only. See you later.
Yep.
$100. Right. But so for like a rare species that's of a rare lineage, it's maybe worth fighting a little harder to figure out why their junk doesn't work good.
Yeah, that would be one that I'd be curious. Like, I would be interested in checking the sperm of just out of curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do it with a light microscope. People do it for like cows and rams. They just go to it's like not like an expensive microscope that has to be done.
Right.
You're just like, well,
it just sounds like a lot of work just for me to get bit and then try to ejaculate a python. The only python that has been the easiest to do this with, as far as like if I had to do something like that, is my Timor python or lesser Sundus python. My male will just like, it is odd. I've never had a snake do this. Like he'll like even
puts his little wiener on you.
Not even that too. He'll just, as soon as I touch him, he'll avert his hemipenes. I don't know if they were previously out, but I've gotten cummed on so many times by this python. Like, no, I'm not even. I know I took it there, but I can't help. I mean, like seriously, my fingers would be.
Wow.
It was.
I didn't know.
Was bad. No, this male doesn't hold back.
I got a little snake. Like if you do colubrids and you put him into a cage and you just show him a female and she smells good, their little wee-wees will come out and they'll touch your arm as they're like going in. So but I didn't get a whole load.
This was like, I mean, this was like fingers like just stuck together. Like after I put them up, I was like, what is this shit on my hand? I was like, no way. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm just
We've learned something new today.
Yeah, maybe I need a new female or something, because I don't think, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I've seen them court each other, or I've seen like almost a lot, but I've never, she's such a pain in the ass to deal with. She's like 7 foot long and just doesn't like being touched. So I can't like, get a good look at her, because most of the time she's coiled up. So I can't like see if she's building. And then when I touch her, that it sends her in like piss and bite mode. And it's like, oh, this is not a good time for any of us. So I go, maybe one day I'll just see a clear ovulation or, something like that. So, but yeah, he's the only python I've ever had that would just, I don't know, just let it go, I guess.
That's crazy. Do you keep him on non-loose substrate so he doesn't?
I should. That's why I was worried. No, that was my initial worry. Yeah, no, I don't I keep them on loose substrate still. I don't know. I hate keeping.
I move all my boas over to like that corrugated cardboard stuff, rolls or paper, because they like drag their man meat around in a way that is disturbing.
Right. The only snakes I was worried about with that, or not worried about, who was it? Ben. The only substrate I was worried about was Ben used to breed on sandy chips. And I know that's a pretty
Oh, and that's
popular
really
bedding for
dry.
colubrid people. And he would
Yeah.
have ball pythons that would get that a lot of that substrate stuck on their hemipenes and would cause infections and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I've
He
seen
had
it
quite
happen to boas, for sure.
yeah,
And
he
it would
had
kill
quite a
them.
few times. I haven't had that issue with more like the aspen or coconut husk yet. I should better not jinx myself, but I haven't had that
Do you
problem
think it's
yet.
a longer or bigger piece of stuff? So even if it gets stuck, it doesn't get sucked back in. It just gets sort of sheathed off as it gets re-inverted back in. I'm just worried
Uh,
about like little pieces of stuff. Because they
well,
don't seem to be able to clear their junk easily. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah,
It's like
no,
the
that
still on there
I
when you
truly
pop them.
I truly
So
believe, particularly with like thinner skin pythons, that that's a huge problem with like hemipene shed buildups. Whenever people say they pop sperm plugs, it's just hemipene sheds that just build up after a while. And after that stuff
mhm.
builds up, especially if the male's never breeding, he has no reason to invert them. So if you go to probe a
Do you
male
think in
like
the wild,
that,
okay, this is conversation is not about Denver AARPE, but I'm sure
yeah,
everybody
sorry, we
loves
just
it.
went totally
Do you
south.
think in the wild, male snakes avert their hemipenes like in water or more often? Maybe they're trying to breed more often, so they have more chances to clear their sheaths.
I think I
Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Why is this like a fault in the snake? Because there's obviously sticks in the wild, and they get leaves on their junk. Like,
well,
or do they
I
just
think
all
what
die?
I think what it is with like us in particular, I think it's that it builds up, and I'm sure it builds. Well, a lot I've heard of a lot of this actually was with wild caught males too. Like people would probe them.
They have
I think that
chunks
was
on them.
allegedly.
Okay.
I don't know how true it is because I never worked with a bunch of them, but like papoon pythons, they're a really thin skinned python. That's a lot of times people would probe them and think they have they could have enough, especially the bigger the animal, the more potential sheds they could have built up in its cloaca. And you go to pop or probe it, and you feel that the sheds barricading and stopping it. And if not knowing any better, you would just assume, oh, this is clearly a female. But and then
Mm-hmm.
some people put it together with another male, and I think that's why you got a lot of cannibalism and stuff and papuans and white lips too. I think white lips are another one. Sounds like a lot of people. Yeah,
Do you
I don't
think
know.
if
I
they
think just
soak their junk, it oozes out this magma?
I guess
Says
it depends
Lisa.
how sealed that
I'm
cloaca is. I
translating.
guess. Yeah, I guess it just depends how sealed. That can they tighten that asshole up enough to keep it in or not? If it's a loose one, it may not be. I don't know.
Right. Well, that's what I'm getting at. I'm not
I think
like I
I think
wonder how much of their biology requires males to be breeding to be preserving themselves. Like, do they need to be breeding to be cleaning it off?
yeah. I think
As
that would
normal part of functioning male
yeah,
lifestyle.
that's a good point. I wonder if you built up too long, if that could cause like, issues after a while, if they don't. Well, I think it would because I mean, you know how skins can be. They if they get especially in a moist area, they'll get mold, bacteria
Mm-hmm.
potentially, so that might eventually cause problems down the road. So, yeah, I never even thought of that, but I think generally we think of breeding our animals, so usually they have some sort of opportunity to do it if they, partake.
Well, this is a problem in gelded horses. Do you want to hear about this?
All right, let's hear it.
They just don't use their penis for the intended purpose, and so they accumulate cheese. We'll call it cheese. And so, like, because they're not leaving their dong out as much. When they do leave the dong out, like straw or hay gets stuck on it, and then they revert it back. So you have to like clean it out. But a stallion doesn't have that problem because they're always getting a boner or having sex with a mare or doing all this
Uh,
stuff, and so it's self cleaning is what like the using it is part of the cleaning. That's what I think of. Has this conversation gone too far? How many people have left?
yeah, we've,
So
we've
is a
gone
male
south.
snake supposed to be using his hemipenes to clean it as part of a natural functioning adult male biology?
Probably.
That's the only way it's clean.
Yeah, I think honestly,
Hypothetically.
unless you're actually physically going in there and doing it like yourself, but I don't think most people. I don't think most people have the strength for, like, depending on the python, like a big python, to push all those hemipenes out. That almost might be a vet thing or something like that if you had to. But yeah, no, that's a good point.
Right, but you could probably like irrigate it with saline solution if it's all like chunked up at this point.
Yeah,
at least this white lip soak his junk.
Yeah.
Right, the beans. Exactly. This is the downside of a gelding. Like, having sex is good for male horses, is what I'm saying.
Well, potentially it can be good for the pythons too. Who knows?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. We've solved the mystery today. Maybe. Right.
We went from Denver to snake python.
Oh God, I can't keep it together on a podcast. Yeah. Okay. So nobody bought any white lips though. So they didn't. No. We'll never know if their male needs to be jerked off by water bowls. Is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
No water bowls. Oh, I guess water bowls in this case.
I have noticed in boas they will, I don't know, nocturnal emission like around their bowls, and I think it's partly hemipene cheese. So I think boas do maybe express their hemipenes to clean them.
Yeah.
Just like, is that crazy? Maybe. They're not breeding anybody. They shouldn't be feeling good, but maybe they like whip it out to try to get some of the shed off, and they bring it back in.
I wonder if water could be like a catalyst, like heat is for mammals, that avert your testes because of the heat. I wonder if water can do the same with like a python. Because
right.
I don't know. I have no idea.
So maybe there is a mechanism to clean.
Yeah, I don't know.
We should definitely tell some innocent family about this at a reptile show.
Oh, good Lord. I couldn't even imagine. They would be so mortified by it. They would just be like, oh, we can't do this. But yeah. But if you want to talk about the show, I will say.
What were they buying from your table, do you think? What were they most interested in? And then what were they buying?
It was cheaper ball pythons, but then the one thing I noticed did stick out that had a bit more of a price was the short tail pythons. But I think that equate to like carpets.
The next step from ball pythons.
Yeah, there was that next. Yeah, I would tell people, like, if you want, I call it the more metal version of ball pythons, like snake that won't put up with as much BS, but is generally pretty good handling if you're. The criteria are more met than compared to a ball python that can handle a little more nonsense as far as like booping on the snoot or, dangling, or a little more physical abuse, I guess, on a short tail is willing to take. But I noticed like with carpets though, there was like at least 4 people that had a decent amount of carpets, and then there was like I'm sure there was probably some random ones too. But
that was a very carpet heavy show.
Yeah, so I go figure I didn't sell any carpets. Granted, I don't have like as huge of a selection as others, but I didn't sell carpets that show compared to Virginia, which almost was the opposite, where there was hardly any carpet python people. So I ended up doing really well with carpets there. Will you
change your strategy next time? Like if Zach's there and some of the other ones, like we'll have carpets every time. Will you bring slightly less carpets, or do you still want to bring them?
I still probably bring them just because, like, whether it's variability or just to fill a table too, because you just never know. But I'll probably start looking more into that, because I can totally see Virginia changing depending on who decides to go to that show, because Virginia, I mean, literally just north from that state, like Pennsylvania and then Maryland and some of those states that aren't that far away, has some serious carpet python people. And they were a whole lot closer than I was to that state. So if they just traveled down to that show, that could totally change over the course of literally the next show, depending on who signs up. So I probably should be better at like doing a little more research on the vendor list, like paying attention to who's actually coming and who's at what they or known to bring or will bring. So because Colorado, I mean, shoot, I don't think there was anyone with bloods or short tail, or if there was, maybe one or so. Not
Right.
like
It was interesting because there was almost no carpets the last Colorado show.
Yeah, exactly. And I did sell some carpets at the last one too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was it's interesting. Like oh man, it has to be not has to be, but maybe because I don't know, because even the short tails, like I would tell people, it's like they really are a good next step. That or Angolans when it comes to ball pythons, but they are different, but they're not like I don't know. I guess I just don't have that salesman mentality of like telling people what they want to hear more than what they need to hear. Because like I told them, I was telling them it was a Tennessee show. There was a lady holding a short tail python, and then she was doing fine until she bopped it on the nose once, and the snake was like, okay, but then she went to go do it a second time, and that snake just went whack right on, didn't latch on, just like a pop to just shove her away.
Why don't people respect them as animals?
I have no
That's
idea.
what that feels like to me. It's not like, I mean, maybe she wasn't disrespecting it, but like in my head, I'm like, I don't know, treat it like a living thing. Does any animal really want to be bopped in the head, even if they can tolerate it?
Yeah, especially such like more high strung / nervous animals. They just they are stronger personalities, I guess, where they just won't tolerate that kind of nonsense with being touched on the head. At least not right away. Some of that, like my short tails generally aren't too bad, but like a baby that's new surroundings, new smells, different temperatures, everything's different. It's like it's a high stress situation.
Yeah. I try to like be nice to people and be like, these boas are pretty nice baby boas, but they're not, they could obviously be scared. I have noticed, like, since taking them outside to take their picture, if it's too windy, it sets off the mechanoreceptors in their faces or something. And they're like, fuck you, let's fight. They're fine normally, but if it's too windy, they're like, it's over. And I was like, don't take it outside. It will turn into a gremlin.
Well, and that was
not all of them, but like some of them, they can feel the wind and it feels different. So they're like, I'm being attacked.
The people I sold the short tails to, a lot of them had boas and ball pythons. And I said, a short tail python is, I mean, genetically, obviously, is more closely related to balls, but like personality wise, is pretty similar to boas, just not as active, a lot more sedentary. So I told people, it's like, if you can handle a boa, you should be able to handle a short tail python as far as size and stuff goes. I mean, they'll get, I guess, depending on the boa species. I didn't ask anyone in particular what, I'm assuming it's some kind of BCI morph or cross of some sort. And I told them they're pretty comparable in size, as far as like girth wise, will probably be pretty similar. So I told people,
Lisa thinks the sky scares them. I think when they first come out and they see sunlight for the very first time, it probably does blow their little brains. But usually they're just like, I don't know what's happening. But these ones would get scared when the wind would hit them because it's windy as hell here because it's springtime.
Oh, yeah.
If it was like a really windy day, I'd be like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. I need to go back inside because they would feel it.
I don't know if this happened to you much with boas, but I always thought I don't know if it would make more people nervous, but that like tendency to huff, they're more vocal than a lot of like pythons typically are in most cases. At least the ones me and Dave always argue about this because I always tell them, yeah, it's unfortunate, but boas sound like they kind of fall into that same demographic as like the short tails and the carpets and all that, with being either bitey or, I don't necessarily think it's bitiness is any. I don't think it's honestly worse than carpets. Carpets can be pretty nippy, but I think what you trade off for the bitiness, you get with the vocal, them being just more vocal, and that tends to be more similar to like fast moving snakes, can really trigger people in like I don't know if I want to deal, or not even deal with, but it's more intimidating to them, I guess, because it just similar to like Pitiophis, like bulls and stuff that are more vocal.
Right. But I think, I don't know, like maybe you should be an intermediate keeper to keep a boa or a
Yeah.
blood or a
Carpet,
short
blood. Yeah.
tail or a
No, I
carpet,
think
where you're like not scared if the snake is just
you
like gives you the
you want
side
to.
eye and upset you because it
Yeah.
doesn't want you to pick it up. You
A
either
snake
need to
that.
because you need to clean the cage, or you choose not to because it's not the day. You just learn body
Yeah.
language.
Where
Like
like
that's
a
not they're
snake
not
with a
hard.
snake with a little more sass to it. It's not like it's not gonna roll over like a hog. Well, not a hog nose, but like a ball python, I guess would just curl into a ball and hide from
Right,
you.
like boas will like know you're there and shrug you off. Like if you want to pick up an adult female and she doesn't want to be picked up, she will shrug your ass off and just be like, "Don't touch me." Ew. She'll act
Short
like
tails would
you're
do
a male.
something. Short
Yes,
tails would
so
do
like
that
that,
too. They kind of
and
bump
then you
you.
have to decide as an adult, like, do I want to get her out even though she doesn't want to and put her in a bin so I clean her cage, or do I want to wait until she's in the mood? And that's just like maybe a more mature keeper's technique, because I think a pet person would be like, what do you
If
mean
I
they don't love me?
Yeah, I can't get
And
it
I'm
out and
like,
touch
it's
it every
okay.
day.
Just like decide if she's ready or whatever to be played with or handled.
Yeah,
If she's not, then don't. You know,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
People.
It's a really weird conversation because I think boas can be really tame and really habituated to everything. Like you could take them for a picture time at a kid's birthday party if you put in the work to teach them all the things in life that happen. You know, that
Yeah,
people are going to want to boop their snoot or whatever.
yeah.
But people want them to be nicer earlier than that.
I think short. Yeah, no, that's true. But I think short tails are. I think, oh, man, there's some carpets like Brettles and Inlands that can really fit that demographic as far as a pretty good first Morelia. But a lot of like your not diamonds, but your like your traditional jungles, Darwins, Papuans, stuff like that can be real pretty high strong as neonates, and then it can go one or two roads. Either they just stay the same, or they do get better or deal with it. So it can go one of two ways, or they can be in between where there's just like it depends. Like you're saying, it depends on the day. They either will deal with you or won't deal with you.
I mean, you're a breeder. You probably have too many snakes, just like me. So I don't play with my adult.
Yeah, no. Once they've showed me they have attitude, I'm like, okay, that's our relationship.
Yeah. So I'll use hooks judiciously, and
Yep.
I get them out, and I'll take them outside if they're in a good mood and take pictures. If not, put them in a bin, clean their cage. But I'm not like holding them ever, really.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
No. Oh no.
So like,
well,
when I think about their personalities, I do remember like pet boas I had a long time ago. They were really nice as adults, but I played the shit out of those things like all the time. I was always like, let's go. I don't do that now, but to me, it's all normal.
I think with your boas in particular too, they seem to be even. I think short tails might fall under this category too, where they're like they learn to tolerate you better. I think some species, like with white lips, I think particularly with the wild caught ones and stuff too, where I think you can like that forcing handling on something that's so high strung that just I think it can cause like literally the opposite effect and cause like a overly stressed situation. Yeah, where they just literally go in dormant mode and not want to do anything.
Right, boas do bite hard when they don't like you.
Yeah,
but they telegraph everything they're gonna do to me.
I think boas.
I'm never surprised. They're always like, "Fuck you! Don't pick me up." And I'm like, and then I do, and then they might strike the air.
But I think boas are kind of like, they're very. I find them more vocal than anything. I mean, there are some that will, like they'll bite you. Like a lot of my locality stuff, like my pearls will. I mean, they just when they're done, they're done. They'll or if they're hungry, they'll wrap themselves up. Yeah, they're very motivated. But again, like you said, once they've tried to bite me once, I'm like, okay, well, I know what our relationship is. Like, I have a Indian python. I was filling up his water today, and boy, I have a hose reel is for what I use for the water, and I was aiming it for the cup or the new cup, and as the water was hitting it, there's obviously a bunch of backsplash, and this water was hitting his face, and as soon as it hit his face, Huff starts throwing his hide all over the place because he's pissed off that the water disturbed him from doing nothing all day, and he would toss his hide. He's doing that like flexing thing where he's trying to hit his body on as much shit as he could, like tossing like the substrate everywhere. I just go, Jesus Christ, you guys are
It's a little
they
temper
are so
tantrum.
high, they are so high strung as far as their personality. They are the reason why I decided to get these like shut off hides for all my big snakes, is so, because I think people would be surprised. A big snake does like to hide occasionally. It doesn't want to just be sitting out in the open to be stared at by the general public, particularly when they're in shed, or as I said, if they're super high strung,
Yeah.
like I would
I think
say
every snake likes to hide.
yeah, if you give it
Period.
the
What about
opportunity,
that?
well, the only time they do is when once they're comfortable in an environment, they'll sit out a little bit more. But other than that, like, when they're new to an environment, or they're in shed, or just ate where they're at their most vulnerable, they'll go and hide into their hide box till they either digest it or done shedding. Then they'll sit out with their, traditional, like, big confident python vibes. So
Yeah, I did. And this is a spicy time, I think. I did at this show, I did a situation where the snakes could hide completely in their deli cup. And I just want everybody to know, I don't think that affected sales because I had pictures of the adults. So, like, the snakes could be completely hidden, and they'd be like, "Is there a snake in there?" I'm like, "Yes."
yeah.
But here's what the adult looks like. And I was still able to sell them without them needing to be exposed. And that's something I've been struggling with, where I'm like, is it ethical to take a... These snakes don't want to be on at the show. They just tolerate it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what if we... Because the fucking spider people get away with having a cup with dirt in it with some web, and you don't see the spider. Right?
Yeah.
But they have a little picture of a spider on a little... And they're like, this is what it looks like, but it's this N-Star. And I was like, we can do that too if we want.
Yeah. So,
okay.
So
I sold enough that I think it's a fact. No.
Do you notice a difference between people who, between seeing a picture on your phone or seeing an actual, like, printed out picture?
Yes. Because I've always had my, like, Instagram pictures, and I was like, do you want to see? No. It has to be a picture on the table. I think that's 100% true. I think if you have little piles like these, this is what they grew up to look like. They can just decide based on the pictures if they want to dig them up, and then I can dig them up if it's necessary. But, like, I didn't have to dig up a lot of them because some of them would be out. See, you know how, like, when you cover your displays at night and you reveal them in the morning, a lot of the snakes are out. But if they can hide, they will during the day. So I think I like this system. I don't know if it has to be every time for every species, but they do seem to do better, and the people will still buy them. They just have to see something.
Okay. So
is that crazy?
That's what I need to do. I need to go get pictures, like actual taking printed out pictures to bring, because I mean, the whole show I'm just scrolling Instagram or my thing. And
I used to do that too. And I because, like, Lee Abbott does this at Daytona, which I'll get to Quirky's question eventually. And I was like, oh God, what are we living in 1980? Do I have to print out pictures? Yes. Apparently the answer is yes.
Yeah,
people won't. Because I used to have an iPad out that people could look through my Instagram on too. And I think it has to be physical. Like, this is the snake. This is what it looks like when it grows up. Or whatever. Just like the spider people do.
Yeah. All right. Well, that makes that, because because it's either that option or the other option is, like, bringing the adults, and I don't want to do that, obviously. So if I can,
we don't bring adults around here.
Yeah. If I can just bring a photo or something of the animal, I'll do that.
I was even thinking about it for ball pythons, because no ball python wants to be exposed either. Could you put them in a situation where they are all literally hiding, and you just take their picture and just set it on top of a literal hide in a box? And then if you want to reveal it, let them hold it. It's fine. But, like, the whole point is like, they can hide them as much as they really want to, and we just stop doing what we're doing.
That might be more difficult because it's such a wider range as far as, like, there's a bigger crowd of those people doing it. And
yes,
I sometimes wonder how much, like, low key shit more vendors talk on other vendors that you just don't quite know. Maybe not even, like, direct, like, oh yeah, they're an asshole, don't buy it from them. But, like, they got okay shit, like under their breath type of, shit talking or something. Because my God, have I had this show? I had probably the most people where they were like, I would send them off to like get the totes or whatever they were gonna get, because I told them like I would, for the ball pythons, I'd be like, I'd recommend like Jessica's totes, and then maybe go over to like Cold Blooded. I can't remember their name. The Colorado native people, the dude Tri-Stripe. I said they had the coconut husk. I said go over there and grab the coconut husk, and I would sometimes see them by you, but then then they would just, once they hit that other aisle, then they were just gone. I didn't see them for the rest of the day. So I don't know. There's so many ball pythons to choose from that I don't think if they get the opportunity to see it right then and there, they'd rather see it in person than a photo. At least when it comes to something so common, I think. I don't know.
I know. I've just been struggling with like, are we doing stuff at shows because that's how we were told to do it, or because that's like the best way to present a species that wants to fucking hide and is nocturnal? Because like those like lychee people, they did the like black acrylic and the flip, and I'm like, we could do that. That would be cool, good for ball pythons, because then they'd be like field black all the time, and you flip it up and they look good. But like, what's the difference of having one of those like black food service containers that's turned upside down like a bigger deli, and they're literally under that? You just open it up and you just whip it out, and you're like, banana.
Yeah.
But it can hide. I don't know.
Well,
I just say for colubrids anyway, it worked. And if people want to try it out.
I had thought about like different, because the way I kind of want to take what I'm doing to something a little bit different is, I've thought about that. Like, could I change my displays to be, I don't know quite what I would do, because sometimes I think if you change too much, particularly if you do ball pythons, they're very much so, we've done it this way, we keep it this way, and if we change, it's blasphemy or something. Like, if you change too much, I think you almost put an odd taste in their mouth, or it's just off-putting to them. Because I've heard some where like ball python people think it's odd you keep display ball pythons in anything other like an acrylic ARS display or something like that, or
but they're not buying any of our snakes anyway right now.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
It's mostly pet people anyway.
Mostly pet people.
So like, and there's nothing wrong with the people who want to display a different way. I think it's actually fine for short term, but there's a lot of people who are like literally thanking me for giving the snakes water, and I'm like, well, some people give them water, but like presenting the little enclosure with water made people feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like, what if we did that for ball pythons?
I've thought about, what I always liked, what was that? Rare Earth. They did a lot of the smaller monitor species, and they had them in like, that sounds like so much work to do too, but they would have them in like semi-naturalistic enclosures and at a show.
Could you imagine like a bunch of monitors just jammed into an acrylic display? Isn't this like what we're doing to ball pythons just because they'll tolerate it, not because it's like the best way to present them even? Like I think it would be fire to have like the acrylic flip off black acrylic on an acrylic display. I think a ball python person would like that. You just have to be like, come here and flip all my little thingies, please.
Yeah.
And so they can browse they would be finger banging your displays though, putting their nasty hands on it.
Yeah, fingers and stuff.
But
that would be a dilemma.
Think about it.
I guess it depends on. So I guess the majority of ball python people, because most, the majority of us sell pet animals, or like maybe beginning breeders or whatever. But I think it's whenever, like, if you, oh man, I guess it's just whenever you get into that quote high end, whatever that is to people now. I think that's when they get a little weird about it. I don't know. You know how ball python people are to change. If you start talking about change, it's just like, it's like, you're fighting the other side, like, or something.
A lot of my nicer ball pythons don't even go to shows anyway. They just wait around online.
Yeah, they do better online.
So I keep going like, can I put a hide in a ball python rack enclosure and present them that way, and just be like, if someone wants, and put a little picture of like what the adult looks like. Crazy. Like
I think if I did,
look better as adults, you know.
I think if I did that,
then,
I would almost want to go full sin and do like like I was telling you, the rare earth. Like if I could do like a savanna, like a semi-arid savanna.
Do it.
You know, I don't know that. I think that would be pretty interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I'd almost want to do it just to see, almost just to see what people say. I don't know. Just like, I'd almost like,
I think people would be fine. Like the people who are actually buying the snakes would be fine with it because they're buying like pretty pets for the most part anyway. And I feel like, I don't know, $2,000 lychees are in like a kind of natural setup with a flippy lid. Like, we can do it. We're adults. We don't have to perfectly see every albino in the thing to be able to sell them.
Well, then I wonder too, like what kind of, I alluded to it before, but I wonder like, because no matter what we like to think about, like particularly the ball python, because it's so big, it certainly can get pretty cutthroat. How many people, even if what you're doing is, let's face it, most people coming into a show, even if they get to you, you just never know what that next guy's saying as far as like dogging that style, you know, because it's like, or I don't know, there's an array of different, like, they don't know how to keep
I don't think, to be clear, I don't think ball pythons are dying in acrylic displays. I don't think they're suffering even necessarily. I'm just saying, like,
just different. I sometimes wonder,
what if we could just like let them like be like, they're in a burrow, but in an acrylic rack, and you can flip it up and look at it and close it.
Exactly. Or even if it looked real nice, like I said, rare earth, it gives people ideas of setups. Because my God, you'd be surprised how many people they can't even like fathom a setup for a snake. They just think of the snake, and they have their setup is like secondary to that. But if you had the setup presented with the animal, depending on what your setup is, I think you could, at least create.
Like, what if you had like an Applegate style enclosure, but the front of the Applegate is also plexiglass, like of the drawer, and so there was a little hidey hole, and you could see the ball pythons in the burrow underneath, or they could be up top if they wanted to.
I always thought that would be a sweet setup. If someone did that, I think ball pythons could really, because that's the problem is we never see them. But if you could do like the, that where you can see them in the burrow system or the, whatever it is kind of system you had for it, you could actually see it, and it, and you can access it too. That would be another thing where you could easily
pull the drawer out, and you're like, which ball python do you want from the burrow? And you know what's in there because you put it in there. I think we can do better. Okay.
I think
it just really expensive acrylic displays too, so don't even pretend like I'm not
I'm with you.
Because I am tripping.
I've
just thought about it a lot. Like, was it ethical to treat a corn snake better? Because I think they do better being able to hide and not do the thing for the nocturnal ball python that really likes to hide a lot and then put it out in the open.
Yeah, just throw it out there. I'm with you.
Do you think a QR code with a link to a Google Drive with a photo bucket would work? I have a lot of ugly duckling species. No, because I have a QR code in my Instagram. I'll be like, go look at all the pictures of my snakes. I think it turns out they literally need, and I've done like a TV hooked to a laptop that's scrolling through pictures of snakes.
Yeah.
I think they literally need a picture next to the exact what it'll grow up to look like for their brains to like put it together. That they could be buying something that looks like that when it grows up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like buyer's confidence that you're not showing them I don't know. I think it's people's like their vision of what like a breeder's doing. Like, are they hoodwinking me into thinking this is what it's going to look like? I think because a lot of these people, like Lisa and stuff, she does white lips, and white lips tend to look different as babies and then change into their adult color after a year or so. So there's kind of like that. Oh, is it really going to get that iridescent sheen that your snake has, or a carpet python? Is it going to really develop all those colors that snake has?
You could bring a snake rack.
Yeah. I thought about doing it.
Crazy, but Reach Out Reptiles puts the retics away each night into the rack. In his there's a sea serpent's rack inside of his display, so they go into an acrylic thing during the day. Then he puts them away into the rack each night so they can take a break, something like that too. But I sort of consider covering up the bins to be a form of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think we could try a little harder.
I've tossed around the idea. My only thing is I don't know. I guess you're right though. If you're trying to appease to the breeders, then I guess it might be off-putting. But the vast majority of people are pet people, so probably shouldn't really matter what the breeders say, because I don't know. Eventually, all this stuff becomes pets anyways. So it's kind of, I don't know. I think I just remember just years ago and why I remember hearing ball python people. Oh, it was fucking Dave of all people. Dave would be like, if it wasn't in an acrylic display, I wouldn't even look at it if it was a ball python.
But don't you think that's changing? Because I'm doing better selling and not just price point wise, but the ability to touch the cup, deli cup special. Yeah. I think they just like that. Just the people who are buying. So we're not even attracting the right customers, I think, with acrylic displays sometimes.
It's less intimidating. I remember years ago, Ben had those animal plastic displays that at the time they looked really nice. And there would be people that would walk up to it going oh my God, I can't afford anything here. Even though he had $50, $30 snakes or whatever. But people, had that idea that this is a nice display, everything there must be too expensive for me, and they would just either walk by or just barely look at anything because they just get that idea that this is too much for me.
And to be clear, I do think a clean aesthetic, your setup with not a lot of bullshit going on, matching stuff, it's very aesthetic and pretty, but I don't know. I don't know what we're doing, because I think they like to riffle around in the deli cup DVD bin, and that's what they really want anyway.
Well, do you know who's because I get a little especially there was parts of that Denver show where that little corner got super duper busy, almost almost overstimulating for me. My autism was about to just go haywire with those people that were just hitting it. I mean, it would die down and they would just get crazy busy. Now, granted, we were by the bathroom, so I'm sure we got a bunch of those people too. But
the deli cup special itself, or were they looking at the ball?
They were looking at other things, but I did notice people were looking at deli cups. People were looking at display stuff still. Dad's back there nodding in and off, so I'm oh shit, I don't know. I'm oh God, I don't know if I can handle it. So
it was crazy. The Saturday rush, midday, was very consistent. Sunday it wasn't terrible. It was a little slow in the morning, which always happens, and then it got consistent. And I was selling snakes almost all the way to the end of Sunday.
Yeah,
just here and there, one every hour or whatever.
Yeah, I think the deli cups though, they're either less intimidating, and they're just it gives people the ability to look at them, get a full view of them. And there's all kinds of ways for I mean, they're starting to get more advanced, a lot of the display cases. Now that might, if you do displays with deli cups, it probably just falls back under that same display situation, the acrylic displays, where now you just limited what you can see.
Yeah, that's why I didn't bring any displays. I own multiple.
Because at that point, the only thing different is instead of bagging or cupping the snake, you just literally open the case and hand the person the snake, compared to bagging everything up and stuff like that. It's the only difference, but. Yeah, that's only
I would use deli displays for maybe the more expensive ones, but I was no. I'm gonna bring 30 without a display on purpose. If somebody steals something, I don't know, fine, fuck it. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
and I'll just sit over this like thing, and they'll be in little like clusters based on their parents' pictures. So it was more like organic. And I did spring flowers this time, and I know that's kind of lame, but I don't care because people like the dumb flowers.
Right.
Because I think the people who are actually buying snakes respond to these kinds of things that wouldn't be what I would respond to, or
Yeah.
you, because they like
Yeah.
whatever they want, their
They
little
like the
buddy or
full.
whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say they like
Yes.
the whole
Yes.
like they. I guess because it does. I guess because us we get used to that like sterile setting, but it looks barbaric to a lot of people who are still new to this or not used
Yes.
to it. Because most people who come to these shows typically are more used to like a zoo setting rather than a reptile setting,
Right.
you know. So you see a display at a zoo, and then you come to a reptile show, and it's like, oh, this is
It looks
totally different.
Yeah. It looks
Yeah,
maybe
lab-like in some cases.
bad. Yeah.
depending.
Sterile.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, like
So like I probably had 20 people be like, "Thank you for putting a water bowl and real substrate in there." I was like,
yeah,
it's a lot of people saying the same thing because I think even though I don't think it's unethical to put them in a sterile setup that looks clean, I don't think that's what they want to respond to snake wise because they're used to the geckos that are on bioactive or on a stick and it looks cool. I just think we have to join the times or something. Not everybody, but it just seems to be pretty good for pet level stuff.
You're definitely onto something because I guess my mindset way I always looked at it is I always looked at especially the more diverse I got with species, I've always wanted to display them in a way that was different than other miscellaneous people typically did display. But now I'm in that mindset of, well, is that what the public finds more attractive for that? You know, like because I used to think.
Have you seen the new vision cages that are coming out? They look like a little bin that stacks.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's got doors on each side.
Yeah,
that I think would be a fire like white lid display, ring display.
Oh, that would
like,
be cool.
You put one in there with like a little stick, and maybe like I don't know if you think they'll eat each other's babies or not. Whatever. Put a couple of them in there. Maybe some of them are running around, and then you sort of stack them up and be like, here's. And it's like a whole unit. You could be like, you could go buy this. And it has light and heat and whatever else in it, and you could decorate it. I'm like, yes, like give me that for like a couple of corn snakes of different colors under light, and then the rest of them can hide in delis.
That's what
or whatever species.
That's what I was gonna say is if you just had literally like one of every species you have displayed in a nice setup. And then you literally just, you know, if someone was interested, it's like, oh, is this all you have? And, you know, you have a deli cup in the back with, you know, with other ones or something, you know, just not on display to the public. So, yeah, I thought that.
And they don't have to be as like exposed.
There's something, there's something more clean about that idea too, where it's not so cluttered, where if you had everything on display, there's like just a stacks of just, you know, whatever cages or, you know,
I don't think Yeah, I don't know the right answer to anything. Berkey says he's making a joke. Thank you for putting a water bowl, but we are still buying the Flipper's $15 corn snake. Yes, you have to have someone who like appreciates buying something that's premium.
Yeah,
like it has a little bit more into it.
Yeah, there's like.
But I thought a lot about like which customers do you not want to have? Have you ever thought about that? Like. It's okay to have reasonably priced snakes, but do you want to be competing in the $15 snake category? Like, is that the kind of customer you want?
When people, so like, I'm with you. I think when people have that mindset, it's like, did you want them to be your customer anyways? You know, particularly, it's like, it's
okay. The flipper gets that person.
So like I was not complaining, but kind of how I was saying earlier, like people, I was like, they were really interested in a snake. You know, I'm sure everyone gets them. Those people who like, I mean, they were right there on the prefaces, but then they had to go look somewhere else to get some setup, and then it was gone. Do you want someone with that kind of like that quick to change their mind mentality anyways? Because those are typically the people that are probably going to lose interest in the animal sooner than someone who is like more
Right.
meticulous
Do you
or
think they
into
changed their
the
mind, or do you
idea.
think they just like walked away and were like yelling at each other because they
Something.
couldn't afford it?
Well, that or
You know?
that, yeah, it could have been a little bit of that, or like someone else had a better sales pitch, or whatever. I don't. It could have been all sorts of different reasons, but in my head, I'm just like, yeah, they're probably just, I don't know. I always think, I don't want to say worse, but I always think of people like, people will say almost anything to sell a snake. Well, not everyone, but there are quite a few people that will say almost anything to sell a snake.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's what gets me in
Right.
trouble too. Is like, when I do talk, sometimes I oversell something where like you just get so excited you don't know when to just stop and let the person let it all sink in. You
Mm-hmm.
essentially talk them out of the sale because they just you just not stop bombarding them with just, whether it's information, just to them, just bibble babble
Right.
bullshit.
Sometimes you have to like give them the pitch on the species, and they just let them
and just let it
sit
with them for a minute. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
because I'm bad.
Because they're
at my
not
mouth.
ready.
Yeah. right.
You can't
right.
autism talk them to death about
Yeah.
ring pythons, otherwise they'll explode. They
Right.
can't handle it.
Right.
Is there a photo of my setup? No, I just took like a real. It's not that great, but I think the idea is. Oh, you want a photo of Will's setup? Lisa, answer. I don't think Will has a bad setup, though, to be clear. I'm just like, I've done it all. I've done like clean setups, like broken up by species, separated. Deli cups in deli cup displays, deli cups loose. And I don't know if there's any right answer every time, but I think people are expecting snake people to act less sterile because they want a bioactive cage for their gecko or their spider or whatever. So I think they're looking to us and be like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah. Not to mention, like, frankly, a lot of us who are in that pet market doesn't know how to set up a pet animal. They're kind of just, we're used to tubs. That's what we came in it. Not us, but like particularly the COVID people, or I hate to pick on the COVID people, but like they came in just racks, sterile. This is how it is. There was like the whole bioactive thing was just foreign to them, or not even bioactive, naturalistic or something like that. So they struggle.
Or just like functional pieces in an enclosure that fit different roles.
Well, and I think that's what burns a lot of people out too. I remember telling Adam this is like, because this is when a bunch of people are getting, well, there's still people getting out, but like when people get burnt out, is what they do is they'll shrink their collection, but then they'll keep everything in sterile tubs still. So they're still having even less maintenance, less seeing the animals. And what happens when you start seeing less of something? It becomes a past memory, or just, well, then why am I doing that if I'm not seeing it? Because you're not even looking at the animals hardly like you did when you had like twice as many or whatever.
A whole bunch.
Yeah, a bunch of them. It's
right.
Like,
so they should, if they're going to downsize to just pets, like upgrade all the pets to nice.
At least the females. Like, I tell people,
visually attractive.
If you have all these pretty snakes, wouldn't you want to display them? Because I get so tired of that nonsense that ball pythons do terrible enclosures. It's like, no, you just don't know how to set up the enclosure. It's not that the animal does bad. It's just you just don't know how to set up an enclosure well. You're used to just tub setup, so your definition of an enclosure is like, I don't know. Some people it's like a hide, and that's the extent of it, or something.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be fine, but like, is that an aesthetic experience that you're getting fulfillment from? Listen, it's the end of the podcast, so I can tell you this in secret. Nobody's here, except for 16 people. But I literally think, as I've come along in this life, that the bioactive geckos, jumping spiders, orchid mantises are literally an existential threat to snake keeping. Keeping in general, because we have our little compact little guys that we can do all kinds of stuff with, and they'll tolerate everything. And some people do bioactive keep snakes, but most breeders are not good at being like, I see what you want, and I'm ready to say that I understand, and I don't have to keep all of my snakes that way, but this is how I would do it, and blah, blah, blah. We don't present that way. We mostly present sterile. Not everybody. not everybody,
Yeah.
but like in general, I think that's why snakes in all species, not just ball pythons, are doing
Yeah.
worse versus like little spiders or whatever.
Or
Because it
even
makes more
lizards, like a
sense.
lot of the anoles and stuff
Right.
like that. They have people like Herb Time that has those awesome setups that they can use as a reference. And
Right. And what do snake people do? They're like, oh, look at my new color of snake. Like, we're not like talking about them in terms of them in situ of
it's only one aspect
or whatever.
of it.
Yes, we're so boring.
Not the full picture of what you could do with the animal you have.
Right. And it's not everybody. There's definitely people with cool whatever enclosures, bioactive or not, but they're like interesting designs and stuff. But I think snake people have lost the sort of marketing plot in terms of social media, where we're just like, oh, got another color. Who cares? You need to tell people why they should want one single pet snake, and that is the enclosure, because that's what is the continuing project or whatever. It's like, oh, I'll get a bigger enclosure, and I'll make a little tunnel to another enclosure, and I'll let them go back and forth. Like, all that part is supposed to be a part of our sales pitch, and I don't think snake breeders are doing a good job of that. Me neither.
I think it's still stuck in the mindset of the breeding aspect. You know what the potential of this project is, that you could breed to this project. You know, to make put A and B together to make C, and then
right. The whole hobby is like, do you breed it, and how and when? But the whole hobby doesn't have to be that. It could be, do you breed it and what is it in? And because pet people don't want to breed 1,800 million snakes.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? That's not their hobby, really. That's our hobby. I was going to say,
it's I don't know. I'm noticing more species. Like, oh, man, I don't know. It's hard to, maybe my brain's maybe not working. I don't know. It's
all right.
People in ball pythons, I think, is, if you don't learn to, because here's the other thing is, I remember this used to be a sales pitch, is because the naturalistic stuff has always been a thing, but like ball python people would literally tell people, here's your ball python, now go over to them to get the setup and talk to them about the setup and everything you need. I'm just supplying you with the ball python.
Right.
All it takes is one ball python guy to be that next bridge that will sell them a complete setup for a ball python, actually help them handpick, I don't know, whatever it is to do that next step that will outcompete those people who are just willing to make it and then just sell you the pet animal. And that's all they're, you know, I think that could potentially be a new way of doing it.
Lisa wants to see your setup. Did you take a picture of it on Instagram?
Took a video of it. Yeah. Like I said, I had a mindset when I was diversifying and breeding more species. In my head, I always, maybe it's just because of my mentality back then, as I liked the acrylic displays. So I thought all these species should be presented in this cool acrylic displays. But especially now, it seems like I think it might be better to just not keep or do everything in that same like laboratory setup, and maybe try to do more of a, like you were saying. And I don't know, it's things I've thought about, but like I said, because I still breed so many.
Like, what if you could have like a little Antaresia thing, but it all looks like Australian rocks, like on a hillside or something?
Oh yeah.
And each one is in like a different little rock enclosure. Wouldn't that be really cool and evocative of where they're from? And
you know what? There used to be a retic guy. He was a retic and water monitor guy, Vital Exotics. I think he breeds bison now, but he used to do retics and water monitors. And he used to, in his displays, he used to do like naturalistic setups for baby retics and water monitors, you know, with not live, but with the plants, the natural dirt setup, the branches and everything. He used to set them all up. And
he would take that to the show, or was that just for fun?
He would take it. He would take it all to the show. But he actually kept stuff like that too. He kept everything in like naturalist. They might have been bioactive. I don't remember. It's been a while now, but he used to do everything in some type of naturalistic setting in the displays at shows. And I guess he did well. I was in the hobby, but I wasn't like in the hobby. So I don't actually know if
Paying
he
attention.
financially doing all that well from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. For sure. I don't want to like make anybody feel bad for having expensive clean setups.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I feel like I've been like hitting the wall where I'm like, why can't I sell any snakes? They're reasonably priced and they're cool pets. And why are spiders outselling them? Spiders have too many legs and eyes. Like so, I want to fight them. Snakes are way cooler.
Right.
Then lizards seem to be doing good.
Yeah, that's seriously
but snakes are just lizards without legs. So let's get on it.
There's just a different squamate. That's it. But yeah,
yes,
that's been something that's been in my head. Oh yeah, they're neat.
What's wrong with people?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know it. I just think a lot of the hobbies is more of a lot of it. I hate to harken back on the ball pythons, but it's just I guess it depends.
Do you think ball pythons colored the other species' interpretations of their own species presentation? Like, you think because ball pythons exist, everyone decided to present their snakes like ball python people present their snakes? Like, even if it was like a totally different body style or whatever?
I think some people do it out of spite. They just go, maybe not spite, but they just look at the ball python setup and they go, well, kind of like my mindset is I want to do that same setup because I think the setup's nice, but I want to display the snakes in in the same kind of setup. Like, I don't want people to look at a $20,000 ball python and like a $200, not 200,000, but like a $20,000 ball python and a $250 spotted python differently. To me, granted, prices are different, but the animal themselves still special in the same way, I guess. Like, I didn't want to give that the vision of like, even though I do sell snakes and deli cups, that's just a factor if I just don't have enough displays for what I have. But like, I wanted to give the spotted python or children's python the same fighting chance as a high-end ball python, as far as giving it that presentation and that same, like, my tone is the same. I don't like talk down on one species more than the other. I just, I try to give them all the same representation of what I think they deserve, because I don't know, that's in my head what I always thought was like my ideal setup. But kind of like what we were talking about, I had that like just in my head. I was like, I feel like I should do something different. Like, just what that was, I couldn't quantify it. I was like, I don't know. Like, I like Rare Earth, the way they had set up. Some of the monitor guys, like Mike's Monitors, does pretty neat setups, stuff like that. But it was just, I don't know. Maybe
it's hard. Let me just give you all the grace in the world, because you're hauling a bunch of dumbass snakes all over the countryside. They need to somehow fit in your thing. They need to, like, all these displays can't break, because a lot of things just break going in and out of shows, loading in and out. So it has to be all kinds of stuff about it. But I think, I don't know, maybe the future of selling snakes at in-person events is not in conventional displays, because all the other like tarantula people have upped their game. All the gecko people have all these aesthetic things going on. All right, hot take time. Hot take.
So, do you think, just maybe, that, let's face it, Justin kind of wanted to edge out of doing shows and just be a media kind of guy. If he hops out of the show presentation and essentially takes his animals off, like, being shown like that, do you think that would potentially change the narrative as far as maybe more people being creative like that? Because despite what you think about like Garrett Hartle or like I said, with Rare Earth and some of the like Mike's Monitors and their setups, they're so different. And I think they're different in a good way too. I don't think they're like different like in a bad way. They're just different. And I wonder if, because the ball python people are so fixated on this is the industry standard, whatever that means to the individual. Like,
you think they would be more creative?
Do you think? Do you think it might create more people? I think what it'll do is like with everything, ball pythons is such a gradual. Like, they might change, but it's so gradual. It's almost like it goes from like, oh, nothing's happening, and then boom, all of a sudden there's like a huge transition with the ball python community. So I think what'll happen, what I guess could happen is like it just changes over to like, you know, a few people want to take that risk, and then all of a sudden other people. I think too, it's like I've said before, it's like a proven concept. Like if someone's doing something different that seems to work, well, because they look at Justin, and obviously what he's doing is working, but if someone else can prove what they're doing is working, then a lot of people, it kind of starts flickering light or switches in people's heads for the light to start flickering ideas, you know. So I don't know. I think you're definitely onto something, because I've had that thought in my head, like what could I do different, but like not scare ball python people away, because like I said, I still do ball pythons, and I do, you know, obviously vast majority of what I do is still pet stuff, but I do high-end stuff. And I don't know, maybe it's because Dave's a friend and he's in the back of my head going like, I wouldn't even look at your stuff if it wasn't an acrylic display or something, which I am sure he's probably joking, but like in my head I feel like that's the perception ball pythons people, you know, sometimes have.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a right answer we're gonna find today.
Yeah,
but I was very encouraged to sell 14 snakes out of cups where you couldn't see them.
Yeah. I think yeah.
That's it. I don't know what to say.
Something
because I don't think seeing the snake really sells it necessarily, because they're small anyways. You gotta like look at them up close. But a bigger picture of the parents when they're fully colored up, that's actually already more compelling. So like, could I do that for other species?
So
Maybe?
I had a question for, with this stuff you sold animal wise, did you sell the equal amount of setups with it or not?
Nope. Most people sold 9 setups, and 2 of them were to your referral. So they were people who didn't even buy a snake from me. And then one of them was someone who bought another snake for their kid from somebody else, but they bought one from me already, and they just wanted that one for that other snake. So I only sold maybe 6 kits with a snake. So more of them sold beyond that. But it did help the people that it helped. Could you sell non-ball pythons in a surprise grab bag fashion? Probably. But
can you describe the grab bag fashion?
I think he meant like a mystery bag. Like you pay
kind of like what they do
$50 you get any corn snake if you pick it out or whatever.
Are people doing that with ball pythons? Am I that out of the loop?
I've seen you can dig around in a bin and pull up a snake bag.
I've seen that with hog noses, but I haven't seen that with ball pythons yet. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know what you're referring to. Like if I did it with non-speed, like what if I mix carpets, white lips, because if I did something like that, I'd feel bad if someone pulled out a white lip.
Right. You know, I think they're saying like surprise you got whatever, like, no research on how to take care of it.
I don't know. Even pythons in general, I think that's kind of a real dodgy, because I don't know. I tell people like even pythons and just all pythons in general, they're not a lot of work. They're just different work. And if you're not ready for that different, well, then they're not going to just be like your corn snake and probably handle, you know, not having heat for a week or something like that at a time, or depending on how warm you keep your house or whatever. So
it seems to be catching on mystery bags, $100, $200, or $300 categories. I tried it for corn snakes one time where they were all the same gender, same age, just different colors, and they were all corn snakes. Like there was like, these are all corn snakes. So like it's not like you didn't know what you were buying. You just, the mystery was the color. And it didn't work at all. Nobody bought any. And they were like cheaper than like any of the corn snakes on the table. I just think sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't know. I couldn't sell any of them that way. I like put them in like boxes with bows and stuff.
Yeah,
maybe people just didn't want corn snakes.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about the grab bag situation. That one I'm a little more like, I don't know how well that would work with a lot of. This is how I try to like do stuff. Like my mindset, like as far as like, I I won't ever probably be someone who makes like a 50 or 20 or $50,000 at a show, but I usually have enough diversity where I don't completely bomb a show, because I always, because like the way I kind of look at breeding now compared to what I did when I was primarily or more ball pythons was, and why, particularly that gets a lot of people in different species in trouble is I never try to produce a bunch of one thing, because all that pressure on one species market might just, in most cases, will totally bomb it, because people think, oh, if I sold this clutch well, I'm going to make 10 more or 5 or 10 more of them. And then they end up hardly selling any of them because they just too many animals for a market that already isn't that big to begin with. So by diversifying.
Yeah, I think people definitely underestimate that. They're like, oh, if I just make even more whatever jungle carpets, because I did a good job selling one clutch in my local show. You can saturate your whole state.
Yeah, that gets a lot of people in trouble. People just equate like one clutch or litter selling well, I'm going to make a ton of them. But in my head, I'm just like, well, it makes more where you can still do volume, but not to the extent of like, I'm trying to equate the, like if you're talking like big breeders, and that kind of volumes is going to be just ridiculous, like dynasty reptiles or something huge like that. But I can do volume like Aussie boy, but just with different species. If anything, maybe 1 or 2 clutches compared to a bunch of clutches, or one clutch or one species with just a bunch of different clutches. I think that's when things can get real. And why ball pythons can handle it so well is because you just have so many looks, and you have people willing to spend that much money, or I don't know if willing or suckered or fooled or whatever it was, bamboozled into thinking it was a great idea or something. So that was, but I know ball pythons were originally that gateway that got people really thinking, because I remember hearing that most species they've sold for decent prices, but it wasn't until the Pied and Pete slapped that ridiculous number on that people, made the gears turn in their heads.
That there could be a market in all species.
Yeah, and all
sort of investment-y.
That investment mentality. Well, and then it was sold. And then it's almost, even today, it's still there to an extent where, well, if you breed this snake, make these, and recoup everything back and everything. I remember, dude, that was the oldest saying I remember hearing from such a long time ago. But and it's persisted on for quite a while.
I don't know. So, like, did people want to buy your ball pythons that were 500 and over, and they just couldn't afford it, or were they not interested in what you brought, or what would you think? What was the interpretation of some of the more expensive ball pythons at this show? Because the blackhead bamboo puzzle I thought was really cool looking. Is it like
a lot of people like
blackhead?
that? Yeah, a lot of people like that dark. Huh?
Yeah, it's very weirdly dark. Is it chocolate? What else is in it? Anything?
Well, I don't think it had mahogany in it. I could be wrong, but I don't think it did. I produced a mahogany bamboo puzzle that looked quite a bit different. Not quite nearly as dark, though.
Well, I looked up blackhead bamboo combos, and none of them are that dark. So I don't think just adding puzzle makes it that dark.
I have a regular bamboo blackhead non-het or not hay het puzzle, not a visual puzzle.
And is that one that dark?
She's pretty dark. I don't know. I need to get an updated picture of her, but she's pretty dark. But I don't know. She could have. Either way, I'm keeping her to see what she produces.
I feel like it might be mahogany too. What about
it could, I guess, because I have a blackhead mahogany 66% out puzzle, and that thing looks almost like a low expression super blackhead. Like it has its head's almost totally black. Even the ocular stripe starts fading out a bit. And I'm
saying that thing was fucking crazy.
I would say super reduced. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people.
Did they like it?
Oh yeah, a lot of people liked it. I don't know, even other breeders are like, man, I didn't know a bamboo could look like that. And I go, come on, guys. Most people don't even look at me and think of a ball python guy, but I'm just, I guess, apparently a little bit more creative to think of, all right, if it's a lighting. This gene is, when you add light stuff to it, only fades out the color more. The objective isn't to add more light stuff to it. It's all right. Let's see what happens when we add more dark stuff to it for contrast. Dude, I don't know. Sometimes the ball python, like for as creative as some like to think they are, it's like you guys don't really think that much out of the box. Like, I don't know. God, I hate to turn this into the shit talking ball pythons, but sometimes I was like thoroughly surprised. Like, if you didn't like, what do you think of when you put, like, I get some stuff, I guess, can be just throwing shit at the wall to see what works, but like, I mean, do you not have like an idea of an outcome that could happen or be a potential of your breedings? Like, I don't know, like how much thought actually goes behind your pairing, or is it just these are as high or expensive snakes right now, and this is a pretty expensive snake or is an expensive snake, and I'm gonna put them together regardless of what they look like. They can't be cheap, right? Or so I don't know if that's more their mentality rather than like what actually would probably work well together. Like I hear people poo-pooing a lot of the dark sunset stuff, and I'm just like, it would work well with that dark sunset stuff. Sunset stuff is a lot of the ultramel and your albino traits. I'm not saying they're going to be fantastic, but they're going to work a lot better than just an ultramel sunset. Because what is the ultramel sunset starting to do? It's starting to yellow out, and I have a sneaking
looks
suspicion.
like a banana.
Yeah, well, and I have a sneaking suspicion
sometimes
some of them will probably fade out because the sunset, particularly as an adult, doesn't hold the contrast. Because no one breeds to keep high contrast sunsets into adulthood. They just want the sunset. And I think that's probably ultimately, I think the biggest downside to sunset is the pattern fading that happens to it with age rather than more the color fading. Because I don't think the color you're going to fix much because red's just not a stable color in pythons in particular. So I don't think keeping it in the sunsets is kind of an unrealistic goal to have. But I think keeping nice contrast will help with a lot of the color, especially when you're adding color to it. But I think ball python people are just more concerned of what other recessive I can add to it or something along that line than they are about the.
Yeah, it's just like very in vogue the last 2 years or whatever, because they're like, the only way to retain value is to have it be not just like a visual head, but like a double head. Like that's the only thing that they think is expensive. One of these days we're gonna switch it back around again, and they'll just be like, well, is it ugly? $5. Is it attractive?
Well, it's like that saying Nick and them would say. It was like, is it cool because it's expensive or expensive because it's cool? And I think that's so true today. I mean, there are some ball pythons that are pretty that are expensive, but I think the vast majority of them, is the other way around, where they're just cool because they're expensive and someone was willing to slap a huge price tag on it. And that intrigues them more than the actual snake themselves or what it looks like. I don't know. Even, I don't know. There's all kinds of like, Clown's another one. Clown was one that like they suffer from fading pretty bad too. And if you worked on keeping nice contrasted clowns, you can make nice contrasted animals. I don't know. I remember we talked about this a while ago, but I think it still holds true that like whenever the people who focus on a project and work on not just making that project and as many combos in it, but works on trying to make it the best example of what that is to you is what I think is going to be the most important part. Because at some point the hobby will revert to, oh, this is genuinely a pretty animal, not, oh, that's expensive, so that's a cool animal,
Well, it's kind of how I feel about shows now. Like,
yeah,
there's not a lot of like, no offense, everybody, don't at me, but there's not a lot of like peer-to-peer ball python buying at a lot of these shows where like maybe at SCRE there is, but like not at Denver. It's you appealing to the guests of the show in whatever way you see fit. They don't want to breed it. And so then it becomes a competition of looks for most customers.
For an example, what animal I had some ultramels and banana stuff, and bananas got more eyes than the Ultramel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As far as people
Did
found
you
that
price
more.
your Ultramels more expensive than the bananas?
No, well, no, some of the bananas were more expensive than the Ultramel.
Okay.
Some were, and I guess it depended on the animal. Like I had like Ultramel puzzles, or just I had a plain Ultramel too, and then I had like a few gene bananas. But I'd just say on average, I think most people actually were more drawn to the bananas. Like people would point at the bananas and go, "Oh, that's really pretty." The Ultramels, they didn't attract that same kind of like woo. But now I didn't have crazy multi-gene Ultramel stuff, but I can't imagine that unless you're talking like blackhead leopard Ultramel stuff. I don't know if just like one or two other genes, or even if you had Ultramel clown, I don't know if that would have been enough to like go ooh, or an Ultramel puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that would have just made someone go ooh, that's just mind blowing. Like it's pretty, but it just didn't
Yeah,
attract
bananas like
people.
a fucking
There's more
juggernaut. I don't
layers
know.
to it, I guess. There's like more. Well, I
Right.
think there's just more. Some of them, anyways. There's more to it than just like that stark like orangish tan color with a burgundy background or whatever it is. That stark
Mm-hmm.
difference. Honestly, I think
Like,
most of the time, especially if it's a smaller Ultramel, it kind of
do you think there's some kind of monochromatic, even if there is
yeah.
some contrast? That's why I like. Tell me if I'm crazy. Dark gene Ultramel hypos, because then like the dark pattern becomes blue, but the background stays orangey tan buckskin colored.
Yeah,
So it's like a blue on orange
I think that.
that I don't think I've seen anywhere else exactly quite like that. What do you think of that?
Oh, I think that's very valid, because I think like I was saying the same thing with as funny as that this might sound, is I said I think the tri-stripe sunset might look better than a lot of the, maybe as far as keeping contrast. I think they'll keep contrast pretty well, because all those tri-stripes
Oh
I've
yeah.
made
Do you think it'll
have a.
even try stripe? Or do you think
I
Sunset
think it'll
will
look
win?
similar to like a GHI tri-stripe. I think, I don't know for sure, but because GH or Sunset has a very GHI like pattern,
Yeah.
I think it'll. I don't know. I hope it keeps the contrast. I guess you won't know until you see it. But Sunset has, or not Sunset, Tri-Stripes seem to have such a bold contrast that maybe it won't. Because I don't know. Actually, now re-looking at the Sunset puzzle, the Sunset color and contrast kind of really popped a bit more
Swept
out of
it
the
away.
Tri-Stripe than the Tri-Stripes bold black and brown did.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I guess this would be one of those to try, because I've seen
Do you know if
Sunset.
Zach Schrader had the Fire GHI tri-stripe? Am I crazy?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Do
Yep.
you know if that animal has bred yet?
Oh, I don't even. Does he even keep? I don't even know if he keeps anymore. I haven't seen anything
What?
on his. You talking about
So is it the
Look him
wrong
up.
person who owns that animal?
If it's a guy I'm thinking of, he has a few, like a GHI tri-stripe, Orange Stream
Right.
tri-stripe, and then look it up.
So he's not. He doesn't keep anymore.
Yeah, look this up,
Am
because
I losing my mind?
there's someone
Right.
that had some
Chat.
GHI tri-stripes that I didn't think didn't have any recent posts, so I didn't know if he was doing anything anymore.
Wasn't that Zach? Am I making his name up?
I don't think it's what was it, Molt?
It's
I
not
couldn't
Schrader.
remember. I know Zach, but I don't. Okay.
Okay, it is Zach Schrader Reptiles.
Okay.
I didn't make that up.
Oh,
So this is
okay.
the GHI Mojave tri-stripe.
Okay, I might be thinking of someone else then. I think. No.
Okay.
How recent is this? I can't see what year that is.
76 weeks ago.
Okay.
76 weeks ago. Okay, so he hasn't posted recently, but that doesn't mean he doesn't.
Yeah, it
keep
doesn't
them.
mean
He just doesn't.
I don't post for months at a time, so yeah, I don't really. I don't judge anyone for it, but
I just wanted to know, like, I don't know how they grow up.
like,
look,
I remember
dark,
we were talking
like,
about.
dark.
I remember we were talking about that animal too, and I was like, yeah, and I remember this one. And then did you see the one that Dynasty Reptiles had that looked like it was like an Orange Dream Desert Ghost GHI tri-stripe? Like it was totally different than
Is this
these
recently?
ones. Yeah, it was sometime this year, I believe. Dynasty Reptiles. They had one, and it was fairly or no, it looked like an inchy GHI tri-stripe, I would think might look like. It's in their hand, someone's hands. That's a leopard tri. No, no, still not seeing it. Oh, is I full of shit? Oh, is it making me a liar now? I don't know how much they post. I don't know how. Oh, no, there was another one that didn't. That looks like a Paso Hypo tri-stripe.
It was a Paso GHI Hypo tri-stripe.
Okay, because I said they just had a regular GHI tri-stripe. Man, but I can't keep track on this.
Was it a long time ago?
No, I swear to God, it was this year, I thought. Or maybe, was it a while ago? No, I don't know. You're making me second guess myself. They just have too much shit.
Well,
yeah, I thought it was recently, but maybe not. It was a hand picture, so it was a snake in their hand.
This one?
Oh, no, I think that was the one as a bigger animal. We might be getting close. All right, I lied. Maybe it was from a little bit ago. I think we're getting close, though. Oh, my God. This is making me seem so bad.
My child's in here.
Oh, all good.
Okay, goodbye. Didn't we look at this long ago last time? Am I crazy?
I can't remember if... All right, maybe I'm full of shit. I don't know. I swear to God, it looked like what an inchy tri-stripe.
A more recent GHI? Well, Will has an inchy tri-stripe.
Yeah, I know. That's what.
All right.
Trying to. That's a Paso leopard tri.
Why did they do this sometimes with leopard and sometimes they're completely not tri-stripes anymore with leopard? Do you think the pastel is putting the tri back in?
I sometimes wonder. I don't know. I sometimes wonder. Like I hatched out some leopards that looked funky, but I don't think they were visual tries. So I just, yep, that was it. Wow, I can't believe I didn't see this. Doesn't that look like what you think an inchy GHA tri-stripe would look like? It's so much different than the other ones.
It is a lot different. It looks like OD tri. What about that?
Yeah.
OD GHI tri.
I don't know. I was like, I thought inchy of some
maybe sort. It's got a lot of like reduction here.
Yeah, so that's what I initially thought. And then when I saw the post, I was like, huh, that's very different compared to the other ones I've seen that particularly the Zach guy made. I was like, huh.
Well, have you ever seen like all the kinds of whatever GHI clowns there are? Some of them are reduced with just little speckles.
Yeah.
And that's it, like a peppering. And some of them are like full big white flames with a bunch of speckles inside, and like the back is really black backed, like the polygenic mix underneath of it. So maybe that's just GHI like spazzing out.
Yeah, you could be right. Yeah, I don't know. I saw it and I was like, and I think it's the same thing with the leopard tri-stripe. You either get variation, or I think some people are IDing their leopard tries. I think because sometimes they can have funky influences on the head or the heterozygous animals. Because I saw it with the double head puzzle tries. They had a real funky look to them. It was like they was trying to laterally stripe some of the keyholes on some of the double heads. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I could see how you could get some really. And I had some it's a lesser leopard double head tri-stripe clown and a pastel version. And if you didn't know any better, you could almost pass them off as tri-stripes with the way they look. You know.
Well, lesser tries are very weird anyway to me.
Yeah.
Like, so if you clown them, that might make them look even more like a tri-stripe with a clown head. Because lesser tries are like very dot dashy. They don't always have alien head eyes.
Yeah,
and sometimes you
have
drip.
one. I'll say I have one that's real, like, yeah, it doesn't have as pronounced as a lateral stripe as some of the, like, I have a Orange Dream Special Tri, and that thing has like a real traditional tri-stripe look, which is color differential, changing it. So, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know.
I don't know. Lisa says, congratulations on your gelatin clutch.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
She's tiny, and she had like 13 eggs. I was like, holy cow. She's under 6 foot. She's not very big.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good job. Maybe Lisa's the last person here. Do have to go. It has been 3 hours. Did we learn anything?
Hopefully. I don't know. I don't think we
have.
ever learn anything. I think all we do is just,
all right, good.
Yeah, we just throw a bunch of ideas out there. I don't know. We might influence one or two people, and then, or they say, I heard you on the podcast, and that's about as far as it gets. Or,
yeah, they're like, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah, I'm just telling you, I was pretty pumped that I could sell that many snakes if people couldn't see it. That's all I'm saying. So you don't have to do what I do. I might not do it at every show because there is like a convenience, people being able to see it and not having to like give a speech about whatever.
One thing I'll throw out there from Dave said one time is, and I don't know if Dave's ever told me this, but my dad brought it up. He said Dave will, some states he'll go and he won't put things on, or he won't label how much something is, and in other places he will, depending on the demographic. As some people are more attracted to this, that negotiating style compared to like people who kind of, I want to see it. I don't want to waste. I don't know if it's just I don't want to waste people's time, or I just don't want to be like, starstruck, because I think price does play a big role into what people are interested in, regardless. A Bolin's python's probably interesting to a bunch of people, but like when you tell them it's 10 grand, it's like, oh yeah, it goes right to the back of the file, and no one thinks of it anymore. Or
me too. Like if it's 10 grand, I'm scared.
Yeah, it's like checked out. It's like I didn't even remember what that snake looked like.
Right.
Anymore.
I think right presentation, right time. But I think snake people, we got to start to try to compete with these lizard and insect people more effectively. Whatever that means to people.
Yeah.
I think we could try, because I think snakes are cooler. So.
Yeah.
But I am biased also. Thanks.
Me too.
Thanks. Good night, everybody. I don't know. We didn't learn anything, but we'll try next week.
Right. Something new.
Yeah, next week we'll try to learn something again.